All right, chat, welcome in. We are live. Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals is about to fire up. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander versus Anthony Edwards, chat. We'll see if it's actually a game this time. We'll see if the Timberwolves can take it 4 quarters or the OKC Thunder. I mean, I guess we're kind of just chalking up. I guess I was going to start with just getting on, maybe like saying, hey, yo, chat, but getting on saying that we were just going to maybe start, of course now, game 2 of the Western semifinals. Is it time to start buying into the Thunder, chat? But it's like, okay, at what point is it like, do we really have to give up just any hope for all teams? But really, of course, the Thunder have just been so much better this year, chat. But just their ability to also have these high-level performances in the playoffs as well, too, has just been insane. I mean, they really have had the most high-level performances of any team in the playoffs, which we really kind of haven't given credit for as well either. They're still a young team that hasn't, quote-unquote, proven it in the playoffs. But either way, chat, I just realized I didn't turn my light on over there. Wait a second. Okay, timeout. I got to get the light on. Hey, yo. Okay, chat, behind the scenes, now we're cooking. Is that a whole lot better? I think so, but now we just lost the cover to the mic. So, oh, wait a second. This happened last time, and then I just realized I was sitting on it. The pieces are in place. The game is about to start, chat. But yeah, the Thunder line was moving in real time. It was going from 7.5 to 8.5 before the game was even starting. I think, did it have something to do with the fact that they were presenting Shai with the MVP trophy, and they were like, oh, wait a second, that's right, they have officially now they have the MVP. Give them another point on the spread, chat. It is what it is. 7 and 8.5 might not be enough, honestly. But again, what I was going to say is, maybe they are just obviously the team that it's just so clearly the best team. And that's the part that is the focusing of it as well, too. It's not just the, okay, they are the best team. It's like the, oh, they might win this like easily too, and or on their way to do so. But again, that Nuggets series was a little back and forth. There was still them having to figure out the game-to-game response versus the Nuggets and the counters and stuff like that. And they obviously did a great job. Of course, they won the series, and them figuring out of it was part of them winning that series. But did they figure it out to the point where now they're just going to go out and sweep the Timberwolves in the next round? And again, the Jokic to Edwards sort of quote-unquote drop-off, I guess we'll get to see what, and I guess it's the full team of Minnesota as well, too. I mean, if you traded Jokic and Edwards right now, I mean, that would be kind of crazy, chat, because again, you're thinking the strength, not the strength, Edwards is the best player, of course, in Minnesota, but one of their main strengths is the strength of the front line, the physicality of their forward and center players and all that stuff. And to just interject, to just say we're taking Jokic and or Gobert and just turning him into Jokic or, Edwards in this situation. So you're losing a little bit of guard play. But, Jokic, Randall, and Naz Reid, chat, on the floor together, that could actually be kind of sick. I don't know if it would be a full game type lineup, but I think it could close games this year on the rookie contract, but then, or the expiring contract for Julius Randle. But if you had Jokic, Towns, and Naz Reid, what would have happened? And then poor Gobert is, because didn't Gobert originally get drafted by Denver, Chad? For some reason now, just that wouldn't. I don't feel like that really plays into this scenario, but it is part of the Gobert storyline. So we could put him just randomly on Denver in this team as well too. And now instead of Jokic going up against Timberwolves last year, it's Gobert going. So. Wait, Gobert's the MVP of the league last year? I don't know what the math is for all the stuff. But, yeah, for the Thunder, are they just going to continue to go out and, of course, just prove how dominant they are to sweep this team? Are the T-Wolves going to respond? The home court advantage, I think, could be, of course, a big thing as well, too. But it really, I mean, do we need to go back and check the tapes, chat? But I feel like it really wasn't until Edwards sort of left because remember, Edwards did leave the game for a second. Randall, maybe, I think he got a tweak there for a second. It wasn't until they left the game when it was started to, I feel like they once they got back in it as well too, there was a second where, because even when Edwards left, the game was close for a while. So I guess, we could just pick that random point and be like, oh, well, look at the score, after that. So, it would be true. Eventually the score did get out of control. But I guess, the bigger question would be, did that play a role in stopping the momentum at some point that they had in any sort of way? And again, they were able to compete without Edwards, but the type of, did they have build a different type of momentum from what they have from before, chat? Who knows? But we'll see, because again, we can't really trust it from the jump here, but it feels like game 2, maybe OKC of course, as well, has a chance to be settled in a little bit, because they were the ones that got a little bit off to a slow start. So if they don't get off to the slow start as well, are they just going to be sort of dominant the entire time, chat? But we do trust Edwards as well in this situation. Edwards in the game in which Shea got the MVP trophy, chat. This is one of these, like, could this be a checkpoint game in, do we say in NBA history? The MVP is involved, so I guess, it is the playoffs, the Western Conference Finals, so, I guess we're at these are the checkpoints in history, chat. But you think about just the greater storylines, the moments in the documentary, chat. Are you guys rerunning the moments from the starting 5 where LeBron's like, I don't think anybody in the league can take the mantle? And then they cut to Anthony Edwards, and Anthony Edwards is, I don't look up to anybody in the league right now at all. And, you're just getting hyped up, chat. The Lil Wayne Run the Jewels Killer Mike track is in the background. And it's just, it just gets you ready for the Western Conference Finals. If you can just somehow go between the starting 5 clip and then Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and the Nokia video, you can get yourself really hyped up for these Western Conference Finals games. That's for sure. But, again, Anthony Edwards has a chance to really respond. I guess Chet as well, too. Is Chet going to see the MVP and be like, I want an MVP, Chet? They've doubted me. I guess Chet, of course, he had the injury. So poor Chet, he wasn't technically eligible. That was the thing holding him back, right, Chet? Chet's like, I would have won that MVP if I didn't get hurt. Back-to-back years, Chet's off the board for MVP because of injuries and stuff. How many... Let's see. Because, of course, unfortunately, if we remember correctly, that rookie year, what did he roll an ankle when he was guarding LeBron in the Drew League or something like that? Had to miss a whole year, chat. Unfortunate stuff. So last year, this is his 3rd year. His 3rd year, his 2nd year in the league. So only 32 games this year. He did play a full 82 last year, chat. So shout out to Chet. So to be honest, 82 and 32, if you average that out between the 2 seasons, he's still probably like pretty good between, what are we looking at, chat? I should be able to do this math in my head, but it is what it is. So what do you do? But I feel like between a lot of guys, it's still not too bad. Wait, is Scott Foster down, chat? What just happened? Scott Foster got swiped in the face by Lou Dort, chat? Oh, did he get like maybe a fingernail or something? Or maybe it was just, looked pretty aggressive. A bloody nose. Yikes, chat. Do we actually know the refs? Is this Scott Foster? I think this is, chat. Do we need to get a mugshot on Scott Foster? Who's the refs, chat? How many refs in this club? Who's calling all these fouls? Let's see here. Scott. Do we need is there like a roster for all of the refs in the league where we can get there? Yeah, Scott Foster, chat. So this Scott Foster, I don't know. Is he going to blame it? Chad, is he going to blame it? Did he tell Lou Dort to smack him in the face? He's like, Lou Dort, I was in the, maybe indulged in some pregame activities, and I need to cover up. Smack me in the face in the first quarter, the first 90 seconds of the game. I'm going to get a nosebleed pretty quick. Scott Foster, an aggressive nosebleed, chat. I don't know. Did he get hit in the nose? Can we get that in slow-mo? We're going to review everything except the Scott Foster nosebleed? I don't know, chat. They're going to stop the refs, always stopping the game 90 seconds. It looks like a little bit more cheek, eye, maybe you would think, but apparently not, chat. Bloodied and bruised Scott Foster. Hey, yo. Hey, yo, chat. The physicality of the playoffs. I feel like, we don't want to jinx it, chat, but we haven't had I guess you don't necessarily have like the ref that tears his knee in the playoffs every year. But who else do we got tonight, chat? Tony Brothers also on the call, also on the officiating team I guess. I don't know who the third ref is, or the replacement guy either. Who's the replacement? That's a classic. Is it Brian Anderson? I think it's a classic Brian Anderson move to just call out all the refs. It's like, and the alternate ref, Steve Javi. It's like, I guess shout out to the alternate ref, but you know, I guess you just got to get into the flow of the game sometimes, as well too. I mean, we got Key and Peele on in the background, so sometimes you just got to have a little jump start chat, to get you into the momentum of the calling stuff. But Hartenstein with the little pull up in the mid range. I mean, I didn't think we saw Gobert as well too be able to impact defensively as much. I mean, obviously Hartenstein's going to be physical rebounding. I mean, right there, chat. Just immediately boxing out right away, defensive rebound. Jalen Williams, pick and roll attack. There's Gobert's defense. Oh, get Gobert out of here, chat. They're cooking Gobert. Unfortunately, if Gobert was a nicer guy, if Gobert was more liked in the league, would he be a better defender? Is Gobert a worse? I guess he's defensive player of the year every year. But in the playoffs, is Gobert a worse defender because guys just seem to not be friends with Rudy Gobert? They're just like I have to get the bucket on Rudy Gobert here. I absolutely have to get this bucket. Rudy Gobert is playing defense. I'm scoring. It's already predetermined. Because, I mean, we all know, chat, that a lot of basketball, of course, is the mental confidence of what's happening. So even if Rudy Gobert is the best defender in the league to some degree, like, if the player gets ultra confident where Rudy Gobert is guarding him, how much does it matter? I feel like there's a couple of Spurs guys from the past where you're just like, okay, just guys are just like, they just must really love just getting shots on this guy because, hey, yo, chat. But, it's just there must be they've already kind of predetermined that they're scoring a little bit as well. And you can see that sometimes as, I want to say maybe like, kind of like a rookie Brandon Ingram as well on defense where it's just, you kind of expect a guy like that to maybe be a little bit, because of some of the physical attributes, a little bit held back on defense. And you're like, okay, I can attack, this guy can score. So even if he holds up and you're like, oh, I actually have to hit a tough shot here. Like, you're just kind of predetermined. You're like, I'm making this basket anyway. So it just goes in, I call it the Carmelo Anthony effect. I'm going to will this bucket in. Carmelo Anthony, of course, was just one of the best close, defender in his face shot makers of all time. But so it just felt like sometimes and Steph has a little bit of that too, where you're just like, oh, he's just, just willing the shot in, chat. But yeah, Jalen Williams cooking Gobert. I mean, Jalen Williams a little bit run the team here off of Shea early in the game. Shea off the ball with Jaden McDaniels on him. Getting at that little baseline, chat. That little baseline. Get into the defender, push him away. And then just that little step back move. Deadly stuff, chat. The MVP of the league, it still is kind of crazy to think about. And it still is weird with Shea and Halliburton, chat. I'm not going to lie. I was thinking, like, do we need to put up a poll about, like, who is still being, it's not disrespected. But again, with Edwards, there's like a waiting and it makes sense. And, it's like, okay, this is the next face of the league, chat. This is the next chosen one, whatever. Like, I get the charisma, charm, all the, the quotes, like whatever you want to say that's happening with Edwards. It does make sense. At least, I can sit here on the couch and go, yeah, that guy does make sense as like a star, you want to say the star face of the league, I guess it could be a lot of guys. It could be one guy, whatever. But you're like, okay, yeah, obviously. And again, Shea and Halliburton, those guys, I'm not saying they don't make sense as stars. But maybe it's also the draft thing as well, too, because both of those guys were not top 10 picks either. Jalen Williams on the ground, chat. Looks like he's smiling, so it looks like he's okay. But just in case. Just in case. Conley with the 3. Shout out Mike Conley. Hey, yo, chat. Can he be an impactful player? Shout out, chat. Rest in peace, Chandler. But do we need to get the Chandler drops for? Do we need to get like an AI Chandler for some of these? Because I feel like it would be a good drop for some of the stuff, I think. But yeah, 10 to 12. to start the game. So there again, the first quarter, we can't really take anything away, but the Thunder have settled in. So that was the thing that was, again, that kind of jumped off the page. I mean, right away that game was like 11-0. I mean, Edwards just comfortable mid-range shot. Randall was 4 for 5 to start that game from 3 at one point. So, they were, it seemed like, and I guess Randall himself doesn't really have Western Conference Finals experience, Chad, if we're being honest. Like, I guess he's never really been in the Western Conference playoffs, but not really conference finals either up until this point. I guess we could make the jokes, but he's corrected it a little bit now. He's at least made the appearance, and I guess he's correcting his own stats, Chad. He's 0 for 4 to start, so he'll balance out his great performance from the last game from the field here tonight. So they'll really need Edwards to lock in. Yeah, 2 for 2. Maybe McDaniels, really good McDaniels night. I guess Conley, that's his only shot so far, 1 for 3. Did he make a bucket in the last game? I know he had that layup. I guess here, let's take a look, chat. Over under 2.5 buckets for Mike Conley in the last game. Let's see. He's already at 1 tonight, so hopefully you guys had. I guess we don't want to jinx it, chat. That could be his one shot for a while. Conley, yeah, 2 for 8, chat. 1 for 5 from the 3-point line. 2 for 2 from the free throw line, though. So I guess he got 1 trip. At +5, though. Anthony Edwards -23. Mike Conley a +5. The veteran still proving his worth. So Naz Reid a -21, chat. They're going to need Naz Reid. Where is Naz Reid? Is Naz Reid at the function, chat? Naz Reid better show up. I guess the 7-minute mark. Are we going to get Naz Reid checking in? Gobert? Do they sub out Gobert for Naz Reid? How many fouls does McDaniel have right now? Does McDaniels? Oh, shout out Scott Foster. Hey, yo. But I feel like this is I guess, again, maybe we should know the Minnesota rotation at this point. But we're getting close, chat. Dillingham, or Naz Reid, and I was going to say Dillingham because they did play a lot of guys last time, but maybe they might. I mean, did they? I'm trying to remember when they, because Jalen Clark checked into the game at one point, and it was like, oh, wait a second, Jalen Clark's in the game? Shout out. If he was a guy that was, again, in the rotation a lot from this year, it would make sense. But it seemed like off the bench, of course, it was going to be Reed, DiVincenzo, and then Nickeil Alexander-Walker would be the 3 guys, which, again, gets you to 8. So if you have 8 guys in a playoff series, and, I guess, again, with Gobert and Conley, it gets a little rotation specific. Like, you kind of know what I guess you have 8 guys to play, but what are your final lineups? What can go toe-to-toe and really hang with some of the best teams? But, again, you still have a rotation of guys, but still. Maybe a little Terrence Shannon. I feel like Terrence Shannon could have been, and maybe, who knows, is Chris Finch a little Steve Kerr-ish in this way, chat, where maybe some of the young guys weren't getting a proper playing time. And I think Shannon, if I'm not mistaken, is like an actual rookie this year. So, maybe next year is the year where it's like, okay, you need to start, if he's going to be useful, like start playing him a little bit and start getting him used to the rotation and the minutes and finding his fit on the team. But he seems like a guy, his scoring, and he could be a good defender. I mean, again, Jalen Clark can be a good defender as well, too. A little Peyton Watson-y. I guess they're both LSU guys, or UCLA guys. So that makes sense. But both kind of that, athletic defense, don't really have the offensive game quite yet. I think Peyton Watson, obviously, maybe a little taller, wingspan, all that stuff. But Edwards attacking Lou Dort, just driving him right off his spot, chat. Edwards, I mean, not the most aggressive drive, looking to create a little bit. You're getting to McDaniels in the corner for 3 there. But you could see Lou Dort really, Edwards was at the paint and didn't even almost get out of the other side of the circle there, the dotted line. He was just going to almost not even get into the paint a little bit. Dort just going to deny him. But again, you get the corner 3, it's a good look. So there's Gobert. I mean, Gobert getting a good hand up there on the Hartenstein floater. Love to see it. Dort is probably going to take Edwards. Is he just going to get Edwards for the game? I mean, I guess there's going to be all the switching stuff, But they're letting Edwards kind of cook one-on-one a little bit as well too. Like even on that last drive, again, kind of driving straight across and then finding the corner guy, not really the pick and roll stuff. So still the Jalen Williams Hartenstein combo chat. But Jalen Williams is looking a little bit more comfortable right now. His mid-range game, he's getting maybe even a little bit more of a dribble in potentially as well too. 3 for 4 to start. Here he's going to push the pace a little bit, chat. Oh, now he gets it back to Shea. But, Shea, again, Shea's the MVP of the league. Jade McDaniel's going to stop him. Okay, Shea on Edwards, chat. Takes him. Driving. He gets the layup. The MVP. MVP, chat. Shea actually got the MVP. It's crazy. But I was thinking as well, too, again, with them being the lower picks, I know that it's, kind of random throughout NBA history where the guys have been drafted at and where they, what their successes are. You can find success stories all throughout. I mean, Jokic is a second-round pick, of course. But I got to say, Jokic is probably the only second-round MVP, chat. Am I crazy? So even lottery MVPs, like, again, it's a little bit random, some of the all-NBA success as well, too, but it does seem like some of the top, like the MVP and some of that stuff. Like you do, again, Jokic and stuff, there are exceptions to the rules, for sure. But a lot of the guys, I mean, again, like Embiid, is top 3 pick, right? He was the 3rd or 4th pick in the draft. Harden was the 3rd pick in the draft, right? Or because Curry was the 6th pick in that draft. Yeah. And even, Curry's still like a top 6 pick, is like almost on the edge of, being a good pick, and probably should have, of course, been at least the second guard. I mean, what was he, the 3rd guard off the board, or I guess with Harden, and who was what was it, Griffin, and then Westbrook, then Harden? Was it 2 and then 3, chat? Or was Westbrook the 2000? Well, yeah, Westbrook was 4 in the 2008 draft. I guess technically drafted by the Sonics. I always forget about that because, of course, unlike, Durant actually played the season with the Sonics. Westbrook never got to actually suit up in. There's no pictures, unfortunately, of Westbrook in a Sonics jersey, unless they did like a Sonics throwback. But that would be crazy if they did like Sonics throwback night in OKC. They're like, hey, remember, chat? Shout out. We love to remember the old Seattle days, but no team anymore. Let's see if there is. I mean, there is definitely a jersey that exists. To be honest, I'm trying to think, have I seen a jersey? Can you get like a custom Westbrook Sonics? You might be able to. Oh, somebody's done their graphics. Oh, chat. I guess he was in the draft day hat. That is pretty crazy. That's kind of a fun alternate timeline. I mean, with the timeline of when OKC moved to when, you really start to lock it in to basketball as you start to hit your teenage years. It, like, OKC obviously at this point, of course, is more ingrained in our memory than Seattle, but we don't really have like, I don't have like vivid memories of Seattle basketball, like they were a good team as well too, but again, they're picking Durant 2nd overall. It's not like those last couple of years they were like a memorable team as well too, where a lot of the basketball that I would have been watching earlier on, again, before, and then maybe like 2014-15 is when, like the real, like, okay, regular season, every game. That is, that's when the Ayo, pause the grind started. Ayo. But in terms of the Sonics actually playing games, like there wasn't a ton of playoff memories, chat, for the Sonics. So I guess Westbrook is, again, kind of a full Thunder legend, right? And Durant is as well too. Durant's not really a Sonic legend in a way. Yeah, shout out. I mean, I'm sure Seattle fans claim these guys and definitely love. I mean, do they love their success? Seattle fans, do you love the success of the OKC Thunder? I don't know. You'll have to DM us, of course. Remington Pod on Instagram, chat. The championship season 78-79. But wait a second. What were we going to look at? Oh, the last couple of years. So, yeah. Oh, they were 52 wins in 04-05. But, yeah, we would have just been a little bit too young to remember these playoffs, chat. Unfortunately, at least any non-Spurs playoff memories would. I guess they would have played the Spurs. So yeah, I guess this playoffs unfortunately just does not register in the live memory bank. Ratings Ginobili, chat. Okay, we're putting this series on the watch list. Ginobili with a 25-4. Duncan, of course, just casually being his great self. Parker as well too, 17. Nazi Muhammad with 20 minutes a game in this series, 8 points a game. That might be the peak of the not. Is it? How do you say his first name, chat? Is it not Nazi? Yeah, Nazi Muhammad for sure. Is that the peak of Nazi Muhammad's career? Devin Brown. Devin Brown, I think, if I remember correctly, on some of the early NBA like live games, because yeah, he was on the Spurs here for like, I guess we did have an NBA live game that had him on the Spurs, so it must have been this 04-05 roster. Because yeah, I think it might have been NBA Live 06, so that would make sense. But I think he had a really high dunk rating, so I think we tried to use him in some dunk contests for the Spurs. Because again, with the Spurs star players like Duncan, Ginobili, Parker, even Nazi Muhammad. So I think Brent Barry, I'm trying to remember, the 05 edition, did he have a good vertical in 05? Of course, he won a dunk contest at one point. Did he win a dunk contest or did he compete in the dunk contest? He definitely competed. But I think he actually won the dunk contest as well. To yeah, chat, 1996, he won the dunk contest. Shout out to Brent Barry. So you have him as well too. But I think Devin Brown was the next best bet for dunk contest guys if you wanted a Spurs jersey. If you didn't want to, create your own, I guess, Spurs player and just use a guy off the team. If you're just like, who can be a Spurs guy in the dunk contest? I mean, Castle, of course, it was exciting to actually see that because, again, you just don't really. I mean, even guys that have been in the Spurs franchise, we were talking about just random guys that have, like Tracy McGrady. I guess Tracy McGrady. Was Tracy McGrady ever in a dunk? Oh, yeah, he was in the dunk contest that Vince Carter was in. It's just like, you don't remember anybody else in that dunk contest. But Tracy McGrady, also a legendary performance as well, too, in that dunk contest. It's a little like, because I've been seeing with Cooper Flag some of these like all-time prospect rankings, and people are like, where does Cooper Flag, of course, rank in some of these all-time stuff? And of course, Wembanyama's up there as well too. But you see, or people will do like their list since 2000, since 2010, or even narrow, like last 5 years. I was seeing some lists though that had like Brandon Miller in the top 12 or something. It's like, oh yeah, you forget that Brandon Miller is actually like a really great prospect as well too. Of course, just because, I mean, we're gonna forget, chat, because we're Spurs fans, so we don't even need to think about the rest of the drafts at that point. We have Wembanyama already locked up with the number 1 pick. But yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, you can kind of forget that like overpowered thing can, and this, Tracy McGrady's performance in this dunk contest as well too is also like A+ performance. It's just, unfortunately, Vince had the best dunk performance of all time potentially in that one. So yeah, anyways, Devin Brown, what are we talking about, chat? The 2005 Spurs, the Sonics. So yeah, the Sonics, I guess the last playoff series, sorry to the Seattle Sonics, the San Antonio Spurs ended the franchise. But that was just, I guess, a random 52-win season, so we didn't even see who was on this team, chat. Luke Ridnour, I'm sure. Okay, yeah, so Ray Allen, of course, this would have been a part of his Sonics run. 24 a game on this team. Rashard Lewis, yeah, Luke Ridnour. Vladimir Radmanovich, 6th man of the year, 5th in voting that year, chat. Vlad, okay. Vlad, shout out, 8 points a game. A couple of double-digit points per game seasons here in Seattle. Maybe a little bit of a Seattle legend. I'm trying to remember the Seattle Sonics team, another team that, as a young lad, chat, you'd want the computer to be playing as in 2K because also not good in some of those. But I guess if it was this 04-05, they would have been okay. So I guess I don't remember exactly, chat. I guess we're going to have to try to find this game and queue it back up. The first ever Rem and Sam gaming live stream where we live, because I don't know, that maybe, I guess the live streamers probably do go back and play old games, but the old 2Ks, chat, you go back and mess around with the old 2Ks, because of course you do get the historic rosters in the newer 2Ks, but it's like those, really historic rosters. And to be honest, we haven't dabbled in 2K in a couple of years, but it does seem like of course, it is a lot of the same historic rosters. It's going to be those Magic teams, the MJ teams, and not to say that those are bad things. Of course, you're going to want to play with those guys when you're picking the random players to do the 5-on-5s and the 3-on-3s and the black tops and the online stuff and whatever. Like, you're going to want to just mess around with those random legends, of course. Like, those are the guys you're going to default to. You want to have Tracy McGrady in the game chat. It's just what it is. But also, sometimes it's fun to go back and, like, I want to play with the Ray Allen team on the Sonics. But they do. I think every team has a. Does every team have a legendary team? Maybe. I don't know. I would assume 32 legendary teams, because there's multiple sometimes of multiple versions of the Lakers teams, where you get the Magic one, the Jerry West, it might even of course be like a George Mikan a time or two in a legendary game. Okay, wait a second. Is this still Key and Peele, chat? I don't think it is. Not to say that this doesn't look like it couldn't be funny, but okay, this is Drunk History. We'll find something else on. What else is on Pluto, chat? Just in case. You always got to have the secondary thing when the Thunder are on, because make no mistake, they will definitely drive you to the background if you let them. They've been dominant this year, chat. But Minnesota's still in the first quarter, not looking too bad. They're covering, chat. That's what counts. Do we go with like some classic UFC maybe? I don't know. I wish why does Key and Peele just not have a channel on Pluto? Pluto, if you put us in charge of programming, that's one of our day one orders, chat. Key and Peele, they get their own channel. They get sectioned off to their whole run, or they just get like a whole day, a Key and Peele day. I don't know. Oh, chat, South Park? Maybe. It might have to be South Park, honestly. Okay. It is what it is. Oh, chat, what are this, like the chin butt people? The head butt people? What a start. Hey, yo. We need to actually go through and go through some of those newer seasons as well too, because we definitely, of course, watched a bunch of the original seasons, but I don't even know how many there are, chat, now. I definitely have not seen a bunch of the newer ones. It's just, again, it's us not watching newer shows. But anytime it's those classic ones, it's like, yeah, chat, old school South Park. Garrison, of course, back in the OG, whatever class he was in, that first class. And, of course, he's an iconic character all the way throughout. And that's the way it is with any show as well, too. That whatever that just original first setting is going to be, it's always going to be unmatched. It's more just the nostalgia vibes. That's the right way to say it. But, just more the fond memory vibes of the early seasonness that happens. But great start, chat, to the South Park episode. But great start to the first quarter as well, too. Like we're saying, OKC 29, Minnesota 23. So they got to 88 in the last game, chat. Hey, yo, what are we looking at right now? Not even 100 points. I don't know, somewhere in the 90s, chat. You take 8, so what, 92 points? Can I do math? So a little bit better, but yeah, either way, still great defense, of course, by the Thunder. But yeah, those last 3 seasons, of course, as our basketball conscience is starting to form, chat. 35 wins, 31 wins, 20 wins. PJ Carlissimo, 20 wins, 1-12 to start in 08-09, and then, of course, they moved to OKC. I mean, and then, again, they have Westbrook and Durant at this point as well, too. And Ibaka, maybe, and, of course, Harden eventually as well. So 50, 45, 55, 47, 60, 59, and then, so on and so forth. So 3 MVPs as well, too. And I guess I was seeing some stats about this franchise being a franchise with 3 MVPs. Maybe it's the first one, chat. Let's fact check that real quick. You guys are like, yes, of course it is. But I don't remember. And, again, you would assume that, like, okay, yeah, the Lakers probably had 3 MVPs, but, MVPs that played for the Lakers eventually, LeBron James. Did we say, is that the right way to, a la LeBron James? But maybe they didn't actually have the MVPs on the team at the time, chat. So, oh wait, okay, so this is just the season index. Let's go for the actual MVP index here and see if we can, sort it. So, if we go by team, so Boston has Kuzi, Russell, Cowens, and Bird. So yeah, they have 4, but was the stats I was seeing not giving respect to the 50s, chat? Maybe they were saying like since the merger, maybe. So since the merger, of course, only Cowens and Bird, they would have 2, and then nobody since Bird has won an MVP. I guess we got it sorted by team, chat. So yeah, nobody since Bird. Jordan, of course, for the Bulls. LeBron for the Cavs. Denver with 1 MVP. Houston with 3 MVP. So Houston does have 3 MVPs, chat. Houston's got Moses, Hakeem, and James Harden. The Lakers, of course, have Kareem, Magic, Shaq, and Kobe. So they have 4 as well. Of course, I guess LeBron won his MVP. I guess he did win MVPs on the Heat and the Cavs. Both, chat. Yeah, for sure. Kareem, of course, MVPs on the Bucks and the Lakers. So the 2-team MVPs. And then, OKC with 3 one-time MVPs. Philly with Chamberlain, Julius Erving, also Moses Malone, Allen Iverson, and Joel Embiid. So Philly has the most MVPs, chat. Whoa, shout out to Philly. I guess if we go since the merger, Irving, Malone, Iverson, and Embiid. But, Chamberlain's close enough. And either way, obviously Chamberlain, legendary guy. So no problem throwing him in the mix. The Suns have 2 with Barkley and Nash. Portland with Robinson. With Walton. The Spurs with Robinson and Duncan. The St. Louis Hawks with Bob Pettit. And then the Jazz, of course, with Moses Malone. Wow, Chad, shout out to Philly. 5 MVPs, so they actually have a whole lineup of MVPs. Does it make sense? It's kind of a crazy lineup. Embiid, Malone, Chamberlain, Irvin, and Iverson. Not a lot of 3-point shooting, but maybe not a ton of movement either. A little bit ISO heavy. An ISO heavy, clogged up team. Ayo, chat. We'll see how it goes. I mean, just the aesthetics of Chamberlain, Malone, and Embiid, or Durant, Westbrook, and Shea. Again, just the physical overpower. You think, okay, well, obviously, Westbrook and Shea can't really guard Chamberlain and Malone, and I guess Durant really can't guard Embiid. Is Durant now gonna? Is it Embiid now? Maybe that's the only shot they got. Only chance they have, but. That actually kind of makes sense as a basketball lineup. I guess Boston as well, too. Bird's just Bird and Russell are just versatile players that can kind of play with anybody. Kuzi as well, too, just as a point guard in Cowens. I do think, though, against that Philly lineup, they do have some trouble. I'm not going to lie, chat, because, again, are we underrating Bill Russell here? But, because he's kind of proven that. He cooked Chamberlain throughout the course of his career. But I guess Chamberlain, he has moments as well, too, Chad. They're both legends, of course. But it's also a center-focused team with Cowens and Russell in the lineup. So just, again, how overpowering it is between, especially Malone and Embiid. Like Russell never had to go up against Malone as much as, I think Russell could play in any era. You know who else could play in any era? Moses Malone. You know who else is just a difficult matchup for anybody in NBA history, chap? Moses Malone. Moses Malone's a feisty matchup. Again, so is anybody on the Celtics here. But you also got Dr. J versus Bird, who Bird got his wins against Dr. J too. So it's like, the all-time Boston team versus the all-time Philly team. Maybe it's just like, look at the stats. But I think that collection of talent is pretty interesting. And again, Houston is fun as well too. Malone, Hakeem, and Harden. I mean, if we're just talking front court guys, I of course think of course you have to have I mean, it's not just me, Chad. You have to have Hakeem over Embiid in the legacy rankings, but I think I'm still taking Hakeem in the fantasy game situation as well too. As much as Embiid is a talented offensive player, 30 points a game and all that stuff. I mean, is there any, if we're speaking just talented, the technical abilities, of course, is there anybody more technically capable than Hakeem? So you just pair him with Malone, Hakeem and Malone. like that might actually be what Hakeem and Sampson could have been, chat. Is that, did we say that all right there? I don't know, but Harden in the mix as well too. I mean, you don't even, if Harden goes 1 for 10 in a game 7, you just have Hakeem Malone to make up for all those. They can get all the rebounds, chat. It's actually part of the offense. Part of the offense is James Harden missing threes in a game 7, so Hakeem and Moses Malone can get the rebounds, the putbacks, and Daryl Morey's like, close twos, chat. If James Harden's taking threes and we're getting close twos, then I guess it works that way. We have to start giving James Harden his assists on the missed shots, I guess. But the Houston lineup is, I think kind of the most fun, honestly. And unfortunately, chat, even though there's still kind of not a lot of, well, I guess there is some, because he was good in the playoffs and the finals when he was in OKC. But I would still trust Harden in a situation with these legendary players. Again, if AI can let us cook up at some point a legendary game, or if AI and 2K just get really good and we're running these all-time lineups at some point in like the Apple Vision Pro 2K version of the game, and it's just this super hyper realistic legendary game, I still value Harden in those moments. I think Harden's going to be good, and I think him as a point guard obviously is really the part that would get underrated in those moments where you think, okay, well, Harden's again going to miss all these threes, but you're thinking, okay, I'm surrounding him with these legendary guys where maybe that's not his role. It's like, I guess Rudy Tomjanovich, as the legendary Rockets coach, can be like, James Harden, you're not taking threes on this team. You're going to, the ISO stuff and the playmaking is all still going to be there. You're going to be finding guys, the centers. And, I mean, his ability to get one-on-one looks with Hakeem and Moses in the lineup, chat, I'm feeling pretty good about it. So, again, the problem is he's played with legendary players as well, too, still. Like, I mean, if we're talking playoff moments, either him or Embiid, unfortunately, had a good game there in Boston that one year. And then this year with Kawhi, again, neither him and Kawhi, they all kind of just, that whole Clippers thing kind of fell apart there in that game 7 as well too. But yeah, I would buy in, chat. I would be totally confident with backing this lineup. And I guess we'd have to figure out if T-Mac is also in this lineup. Again, is it going to be the name value stuff, Harden and T-Mac versus Larry Bird and Bob Cousy, chat? Hey, yo. I don't know if we're golf scoring the legacy rankings or just giving the Boston Celtics the win in that situation. But, yeah, who's forming a team? OKC is forming a team, chat. And like we said, wouldn't be surprised if another player on OKC wanted. I guess maybe that would be a little crazy. Again, maybe we're undervaluing still what Shea is driving this team in terms of an offense and in terms of a scoring type situation. But, yeah, it is. But, again, seeing his name with all these legendary players, like, the NFL MVP can kind of get a little bit, and maybe even the last couple of years, of course, where some of those quarterback MVPs can get a little best player, best team-ish, and maybe the MVPs do become, in a way, of course, the high point of their careers, and it's not the reason that their legacies are with everybody. I mean, again, you think about what is Matt Ryan's career without the I guess, not to be disrespectful, Chad, of course, he's an amazing NFL quarterback. He's literally one of the best stats quarterbacks of all time as well, too. So there's all those things to point to. But, again, I guess, should we fact check ourselves, chat? What is to refresh? The problem is, of course, he went to the Colts later in his career. So it's like, Matt Ryan, hey, yo. But, and, that Super Bowl, of course, and just what ended up happening, it is what it is, chat. But you got to give him credit for being in those moments. I want to say they were in a couple of conference championship games. Yeah, 2, 2012 and 2017, maybe as well. I don't know if that was wild card and divisional or divisional and championship. But yeah, they were always a decent regular season team with Matt Ryan as well too. So I would assume, they were winning the division and stuff. So yeah, conference championship, I guess, lost to the San Francisco 49ers to Kaepernick, chat, in 2012, and then 2017. Would that have been the first Philly Super Bowl? Did they lose to the Philly team that year? Let's see. Yeah, chat, it would have been the Rams and then Philly. Oh, so yeah, okay. This is all of his playoff games here. This is what you would want. So yeah, win over Stafford or Goff. I guess Goff maybe in 2018, or maybe the first year of Stafford. But right off of the year after the Patriots Super Bowl. So those three conference championship runs, the back-to-back year of being like a good playoff, good regular season, and then competitive into the playoffs type team. But, and I guess, Stafford, I guess he didn't win a league MVP. He did eventually get a Super Bowl as well, too. But, I guess, Chad, are we calling out Matt Ryan? Ayo, so IT. Matt Ryan's one of the great guys. So, you can't just sit up here and just start being like, what happened with Matt Ryan's career? But, again, is there some legacy in the game, fantasy draft scenario type things with a guy, with certain quarterbacks that maybe have won the NFL MVP versus the NBA MVP is kind of, it's not obviously like full. I mean, any MVP, it's obviously all great players. But it is a pretty good just straight up legacy list as well, too. I mean, you do have the running backs and stuff that can emerge again, like great seasons. McNair in 2003. McNair was obviously great for a couple seasons there, but I don't know if he necessarily goes up in the legacy rankings like that. Yeah, Boomer Esiason in 88, chat. Theismann got hurt, but Ken Anderson win 2 MVPs or just one? You got Ken Anderson. And then I guess we do have, the quarterback thing was a little bit different in the 70s as well, too. Like, with all due respect, there isn't a ton of guys. You do have, obviously, Bradshaw in the mix. Excuse me, chat. Because of the playoff success and because they were so dominant as a Super Bowl team in the 70s. And then Staubach as well, too. His name is brought up in these legacy conversations. But, they're really, the 70s guys, of course, are really getting knocked down the rankings. And, we love 70s sports, chat, but just from the individual quarterbacking stuff, I mean, the quarterbacking position has obviously gotten better decade over decade. So some of these quarterback MVPs in the 70s are a little bit different. But, even a guy like Roman Gabriel, John Brody, like in the 70s, those aren't necessarily the legendary names of the decade that you would think of. Earl Morrall, chat, got us to Super Bowl, so we're not going to be too upset about Earl Morrall, I guess. But Bart Starr, of course, led it. Yeah, Y.A. Tittle, chat, legendary. Y.A. Tittle's not one of the guys that were. Y.A. Tittle is one of the great quarterbacks of all time. Hall of Fame, 7-time Pro Bowl, 3-time All-Pro, 2-time MVP, chat. Shout out. Did he win any championships? Is it going to say here? I guess in this one he had, 3 picks, chat. Not a playoff performer, I guess. We need to check the stats before we talk about Y.A. Tittle's game. 0 for 4 in the playoffs. Chat, never mind. Y.A. Tittle. Y.A. Tittle, not clutch. Started in 1948 when he went 17 for 36. 6 for 20. I mean, again, it is 1961. Passing evolved. 8 for 41. 41 passes is crazy. 18 for 41. Sorry. Not 8 for 41. But threw a pick. Honestly, only 1 pick in there is not too bad. 15 picks in 5 games, chat. And, yeah, so he's basically 3 picks a game. Not even throwing a touchdown a game. It is what it is. If they would have had some wins in there, it would have made it different. Maybe we need to check the scores. Maybe they were close, chat. I guess probably, though, those interceptions didn't help. Would be my guess. But it doesn't matter, Chad. He's in the Hall of Fame. Oh, reliable? Chad, the bald eagle. Yelberton Abraham Tittle. Yelberton Tittle, Chad? Honestly, just go by Yelberton. Yelberton's a pretty cool name. I mean, Y.A. Tittle is obviously iconic as well, too. I mean, is Tittle doing a lot of the work there, Chad? It definitely helps. But Yelberton's not bad. Yelberton, Y.A. I guess they both are kind of sophisticated. Obviously, when you go the double initial, that's very authory, very, it's a very fancy way to have the name listed. But Yelberton as well too. I think Yelberton's got some fanciness to it as well. But yeah, again, the NBA MVP doesn't really have it may have the debate of like, oh, did this guy win it over this player? But there's no again, shout out to everybody that won it, literally an NFL MVP, chat. But there's no like, oh yeah, remember the Roman Gabriel season where Roman Gabriel was the best quarterback in the league? Like, honestly, Willis Reed and Wes Unsold might be the two closest guys in this list. Where, again, I think everybody in here is like a top. I'm gonna say top 30 because Cowens might be. I don't know what the ranking is, chat. Do we do like a Simmons pyramid cross reference here? I know they have it listed. They have a couple of legacy, outside source legacy rankings. I think it's in the awards. Let me see here. Or it's in like the randoms page, but I think it's. Oh yeah, and they have the 75th anniversary teams and stuff. But again, those teams aren't necessarily ranked, but not that the point of them should be to rank. It's to honor the legacy of the game. The Slam 500, I think that was in maybe a little bit later. I think honestly of these lists outside of the 75, I think the Pyramid in 2010 is the most recent rankings, which of course he has the pod as well too, that the 2.0 version. So I don't know if Basketball Reference, do a little research, get the rankings updated, get Steph Curry on this list somewhere. But and he's gonna have Cowens like 3 spots too high. So we got to go like Cowens and then move. Yeah, so, okay, Gervin's at 34, so we know Cowens is not better than Gervin, Chad. So we move below. No, I think Cowens won a title. But, again, you got Willis Reed and Cowens both at 30 and 31. So with a couple of legendary, like I said, Steph and Durant and where's LeBron? Okay, LeBron's 20 at this point in 2010. Again, this is only 7 seasons into the league, and he hasn't even necessarily won a title at this point, maybe a couple of league MVPs. I guess in 2010, maybe 2 at that point. But still, 2 league MVPs and no titles, 20th best player of all time. That's pretty dynamic, chat. Pretty crazy start to the career by LeBron James. I mean, for as great as some of these younger players have been in the league so far, as great as Luka Doncic has been, I don't think he's the 20th best player in the league right now. I guess Jokic and Giannis are kind of, what are they, like maybe a decade? It's still, not like 7 years. We'd still have to take a couple of pieces off the resume, but they still would have gotten at least titles under their belt at that point, I think. Unless maybe Giannis won his in like year 8 or something like that. But, again, I guess Giannis and Jokic as well too. But still, 35, top 40. It's still the same. Like, I don't think the number, I mean, the exclusivity of it still matters, of course, to be a quote unquote top 20, top 10, however that just random sort of classification matters. But also, again, with history and just more guys being added into the list, sort of the exclusivity of the tier can expand as well too, where it's like it used to be, the top 30 guys is important, and now it's like, the top for 45, or, not maybe that many guys have jumped up into the rankings that much. But outside of that, who would be, I don't think anybody else won a league MVP. Oh, wait, Unsold at 42, maybe. Oh, Dirk at 39, but Dirk won a title after this 2010 ranking as well, too. Unless this was, no, because he would have won that title in the 2011 playoffs. So if this book was published in 2010, then the finals run wouldn't have quite happened yet. So you imagine Dirk is going to hop over David Cowens and Willis Reed, chat, would be my guess at that point. I guess you have Iverson at 37 there as well, too. I don't know. Did Sharman or Dolph Hayes win an MVP back in the day? Oh, McAdoo, chat, at 61. But McAdoo's too low on this list. McAdoo's a great player. McAdoo, Dennis Johnson, get him up there, chat. Elvin Hayes below Billy Cunningham, Hal Greer, Dave DeBusschere. No, again, these are all legendary players, but Elvin Hayes, Dave DeBusschere, fantasy. Oh, I thought I flipped the pen around the other way. Fantasy draft situation. You're taking DeBusschere over Elvin Hayes, chat. That's a thinker. That's gonna stump the war room. I tell you, we're gonna really have to look at the rest of the guys on the draft that we've already had. Who do we think we can get in the rest of the draft? So yeah, I guess on in the Simmons ranking, Bob McAdoo at 61 would be the lowest player ranking. But everybody's basically in that upper echelon of the all-time players. So not to say that Shea isn't on pace. Of course, anybody making playoff runs and taking their team to the title, it's like, okay, the ceiling is the roof for what the all-time legacy rankings could be, of course. But And with Jokic and Giannis as well too, we did have to kind of let it evolve and let the careers play out. Like they didn't have the instant expectations. And I guess again, that's really kind of what it is, I guess. Is the instant expectations, because if Wemby's taking a team to the title, then we're like, "Oh yeah, look at this. He is on pace to be that top 20 whatever player of all time, or top 30 player. He's winning the titles, he's winning the MVPs, he's the best defensive player in the league. The impact, it's all starting to form together." Like they're like, "Okay, this is kind of what we would expect." Again, with Shea and Halliburton and some of these guys, like the 11th pick, the All NBAs, is like, whoa, this is actually like, now we're happy. Any version of an All NBA player from an 11th pick seems like a win, and now he's actually first team All NBA, and he's impacting playoff games, but he's now the MVP of the league. And I guess maybe even the bigger picture of it as well too is, again, with Jokic, there's a definite Jokic is the best player in the league case with it, and with the MVP for the NBA, that's what he's saying. You can look back and you can debate a lot of the stuff, and maybe some of the MVPs, like the Derrick Rose MVP in 2010, like that makes sense for us because we were there and we saw Derrick Rose and how dynamic he was that season. And maybe the fact that there's 4 LeBron MVPs surrounding it, like you're like, okay, wait, did he get hurt that season, or just you're like, oh wait, I guess they didn't want to vote for him 5 years in a row. That actually, as much as like you want to complain about that in the moment, it would be insane. Just be like 5. I guess it is LeBron, so it makes sense. But it's just crazy. A whole decade around the Manchester MVP league. I guess Jokic is kind of would have been in that territory as well too with Shea as well. And I guess this MVP is really aging well. I guess the Embiid. I think the Embiid MVP. I don't. In the moment, Embiid's awesome, Chad. Embiid was 33 points a game. Embiid still can be awesome. I get some of the playoff stuff didn't pan out. Jokic won the title that year, so that's just bad timing with Jokic's MVPs compared to the season that he actually won the finals. But maybe that was a motivating factor into it. Who knows? But it is kind of in the moment aging well. I guess that is kind of the last unlocking piece for Shea is like, is he going to be the best player in the league? Or, maybe even to phrase it even a little bit more dramatically, like the best player in the world. Because I guess they kind of go as the same sort of title, best team in the world, best player in the world, best team in the league, best player in the league, however you want to say it. But Harden and Westbrook as well too, they're kind of a little bit, because again, LeBron is just in the mix in the regular season as an MVP guy still at that point. So it's, are we going to reward him? Are we going to reward these high level stats that we're seeing from Harden and Westbrook? So again, maybe it's not perfect. Maybe it's just, maybe I wasn't there watching Roman Gabriel and John Brody back in the day, Chad. Again, I'm not disrespecting their talent. I'm not saying they're great players. But again, if we were even referencing that Simmons pyramid again, in 2010, of course, the Harden careers and the Westbrook career as well too, and Durant, of course, but I guess for the OKC core of it, but just those two guys specifically as well, those careers are just getting started, so they're not even in the realm of, oh, these guys are going to be up there in the legacy rankings. And with the regular season accomplishments and the greatness that they've had, and again, the playoff accomplishments as well too. Like again, Harden's never won a title, but the man's been in conference finals. He's had great playoff runs. He's done a lot to carry teams that far. Like he's gonna have a great spot on the all-time in the NBA Legends Club. Chad, make no mistake, Harden, he wants to go into the Legends Club. He's been playing this entire. That's what all these stats are for, Chad. He's like, wait, I heard there was a Legends Club. He's gonna be really disappointed when he finds out it's just a hypothetical club. Or maybe, Chad, hey yo, we don't want to doubt him. These are legends, Chad. Some of them got some money still. Like maybe there is an actual club that exists. Harden will find it. Maybe Harden will start it, chat. Harden's like, well, if there's not a Legends Club, there is now in whatever, I guess, city he's going to post up in. I would assume, I don't know, Houston. It doesn't seem like, because is he going to, I guess we don't have to go like see his quotes on the actual city itself, but is he going to just leave Houston because he doesn't like the team after he's retired? Like if he's just living somewhere, he's like, I don't want to run into Tillman Fertitta on the street, and Daryl Morey's not there. Like Daryl Morey was really the one that is the one that he has beef with. So I don't think that Morey not being in Houston anymore, he's going to be like, okay, well, I have to avoid Houston going forward because of what happened at the end of that tenure there. And again, it's not like he's fully unresponsible for everything either. But again, those guys make sense as legendary legacy MVP guys, and if they were not first in the MVP voting, they were second. So it's the same with Shea this year. Like if he wasn't first, he was second. But as we're seeing with this playoff run, I guess that's the part again that he's kind of unlocking, at least for me anyways. It's, oh, he is actually best player in the league. And I guess, with Tatum last year as well, maybe, and no disrespect to Tatum, chat, maybe there is a little bit of a, you don't of course have to have the best player in the league, of course, to win the title. But again, it did kind of feel like that in NBA history at some point. Like, as great as the Warriors were, like, Steph was still arguably the best player in the league with LeBron, and those were the two guys in the finals every year. Like, MJ was the guy, the best player in the 90s. Again, it goes hand in hand because he was winning the finals. He's the best player in the 90s. But, again, he was winning every finals in the 90s. So he was the best player. Russell was taking care of the finals. It was Moses and Magic and Bird and Dr. J battling it out in the finals every year in the 80s, and then Isaiah as well too, and the Pistons getting to the mix there at the end of the 80s. And it just, again, it felt like sort of like, okay, yeah, the best player in the league is going to be the guy that is going to be in the mix just inevitably at the end of the day. And I don't know if that is shifting as well too, chat. I don't know, again, it just seems like, and I guess we've already referenced Simmons with his pyramid chat. He was, saying, I mean, Simmons is always looking for the shift, chat, the tectonic plates. The man there's got to be some earthquake expert in a movie that we're not thinking of right now, but somebody just looking for the shift in the league landscapes. I mean, he's got his eyes on it, chat. But of course, again, it's just with the age as well too, and some of the timeline stuff working out, where some of these legendary players, you could really see them moving into different phases of their careers. And then again, with Jokic and Giannis, it's like, oh, they're even hitting to their 30s as well too. Like, there might be some different stuff happening. You get the young players really starting to emerge and take over. But again, is Tatum, and maybe we're just disrespecting Tatum, but you wouldn't necessarily put Tatum over Jokic and Giannis for best players in the league. And I don't think you still would put Shea, of course, over Jokic for best player in the league. Jokic is just capable of accomplishing so much offensively, chat. We all understand, of course, the scope of his game. We understand the scope of Giannis's game, chat. At least I still hope. I'm still clinging on to hope that Giannis is the second best player. Like, it's just, your guys are watching me just try to brainwash me, talk myself into it, because the Spurs, of course, are going to trade for Giannis. But I'm all in, chat. I'm all in. I don't even have to be talking myself into it because I'm already there. I guess this is really how I feel, chat. Giannis is the second best player in the league, but it's not really a hot take. It is what it is. But Shea, with how he's taking and carrying this team in the finals and his big scoring performances, of course, he's really proving that same type of way. So, is it a little Kobe-ish, chat? I guess, is that an easy just two guard sort of comparison? And is that, what's the next comparison from Kobe? The next scale up then? Are we even getting too crazy? But again, with MJ, MJ was the best player in the league, and he was the guy at the end of the season winning the finals every year. Kobe, and I mean, we look back now, because Kobe, the belovedness factor of Kobe is, and throughout any point of the last, I guess, chat, how long has it even been at this point? But even after, the last phase of his career, those last two titles that he had in LA, and then when sort of that Mamba mentality, Black Mamba persona started to shift, and he really started to become like a real like Jedi master sort of figure in the league. Like, even through that time, I don't know if he was ever considered the best player in the league. Like, he did win an MVP there, but again, you got LeBron sort of emerging in 2003, and then just his potential as well too, hovering around. But Duncan is going to be, and Shaq as well too, on the team in the early 2000s. Duncan into the mid 2000s is going to be the best player in the league. And then you honestly could argue that Duncan's going to take LeBron could have just taken the mantle from Duncan in a way. But, and Kobe was, fantastic in some of those seasons. He had, of course, that 05 or 06 season where he has all those points. But you also have Wade in the playoffs being an impactful playoff guy that year. Shea with the 3, chat. 56-50. I mean, we got to pay attention. Minnesota is hanging with them here in the first half. Hopefully the third quarter doesn't spiral out of control like the last game. This is really what we've been waiting for, chat. The third quarter, we're like, okay, we know Minnesota can hang for 2 quarters. We know that they've proven that. 24 minutes, we get it. It's the conference championship. You got to go the full 48, chat. Hey, yo. But the little sidestep 3 on McDaniels. But again, of course, it didn't matter that, what does it matter in the conversation if Kobe's the best player in the league? We know in clutch moments, he's Mamba mentality. And of course, he can be a guy that, and, credit Pau Gasol all you want as well, too. But, of course, Kobe can be a guy that can get you buckets, that can carry your team, that can be the leader in the playoffs, in the finals, and in these big moments. And again, it doesn't matter if Shea becomes the quote-unquote best player in the league. But I guess that's the part with the MVP correlation as well, too. Because I guess Tatum, if we're comparing him to Tatum, like Tatum doesn't actually have the league MVP. And Tatum, I guess what did the Celtics win last year, chat? Because 68 is, of course, pretty crazy, like your borderline historic territory there. And Shea as well, too. Again, his individual numbers were historic numbers. He's at 50% from the field, 30 points a game. But just to compare what they had for wins last year, I think the Celtics might have been in the 50s. I don't know if they actually got to 60 last year. Let's see. 6 in MVP voting. Yeah, if they had to 60 wins, he would have been 64 wins, and he was 6 in MVP voting. Chat, we might be hot take. We might be disrespecting Tatum. I don't know. Brunson, though, the way he elevated that Knicks 23-24. Is that the first Brunson season? Is this his third or his second or third season in the Knicks? This is his third. So that would have been, so he was 12th and then 5th. Yeah, chat. Brunson, of course. I guess that first season where he was at that 49, 41% and 24, it was electric. But then he just continued to solidify his role up that scoring as well, too. And, the efficiency stayed there throughout. So the New York bias, chat, got Brunson over Tatum. I get it. Again, in the moment, I see the argument for Boston being the more complete team. And Brunson, they didn't have Towns in the moment. They did get Anunoby, of course, halfway through the season there. But it was a lot of him and Randall and Hart and DiVincenzo. And it was sort of, the vibe of the team was sort of Brunson and the guys, where it still is that, but it's like, okay, Brunson, Towns, like in theory, you got Bridges as well, too, who can have some swagger in these moments. And yeah, neither of these guys getting any first place votes. I guess first place is kind of crazy. Giannis only getting 1, with Jokic getting 79. Sabonis getting 3 MVP votes, and then Durant getting an MVP vote at 35. But yeah, 6 in MVP voting, and then what was the actual MVP voting this year? So he was 4th, 0 MVP votes. Shea 71-29. Make it 31 because the Rem and Sam pod gave Nikola Jokic 2 votes as well, too, chat. It is what it is, but, not necessarily a bad vote. And then Giannis, and then Tatum. I mean, it makes sense, chat. I guess I'm not gonna not vote Tatum as high on vote Giannis as high on the MVP votings as possible. And again, with the OKC, it's just kind of the math of the season. Like OKC won more games this year. I'm not saying Tatum would have won the MVP if Boston had won more games, but it would have lined up as well, too, if them off the title, if they had the best regular season record anyways. There is obviously a great case that would have meant Tatum was MVP. And LeBron being 6th in MVP voting at 40 years old, chat? Like, come on. Skip! Lighten up. What are we doing here? Cade? Though, if we go the other end of history, chat? Cade? 12th in MVP voting at 23? We got Edwards, of course, making waves. It's his time. It's his league, but Cade, chat, watch out. Detroit 2025. I feel like everybody likes Detroit, though, next year. And I don't know. Are we going to have to zag and say we're going to be out in Detroit? We'll just have to see what the offseason does. Because I guess you could cook up takes either way, chat. But if they kind of hold pat, them staying younger, adding Ivy into the mix, Cade, just everybody a year into the run could be just a great step forward for everybody. But them adding a star as well, too. It's like, whoa, well, now they have Durant. Like, how is that not better? But then, again, it's like, well, they didn't add anybody, so are they better? But then, they added Durant. Like, he's old. So we'll just have to see how we feel, chat. When the time arrives for the offseason and for when they actually start making their moves. Brunson down to 10th in MVP voting this year. But, some injury stuff. Curry also in the mix. And we might have, in the moment, chat, we might have voted Curry over Tatum as well, too. We were really loving the Curry season. And we didn't have the Tatum injury, chat. Now we feel bad. Not that we're giving him sympathy as well, too. But it's like, it's tough luck, chat, for our guy Jason Tatum, of course. It is what it is. But halftime for the game here, so let's take a quick halftime break, and then we'll be back, chat. Second half, hopefully Chris Finch is cooking up some stuff to keep this game close, chat. They're half a point away from covering. Okay, chat, welcome back. And they showed two very concerning stats at halftime here. The Timberwolves bench has outscored the Thunder bench, and the Timberwolves have also hit I think they've hit twice as many threes as the Thunder in the first half. And I mean, one of the threes by the Thunder in the first half was literally that last shot, I guess, by Shai Gilgeous that they're just showing here on the highlights as well, too. So, I guess 3 times as many threes for the majority of the second half. They out 3-point shot him. So, all that chat, and the Timberwolves are down 8 at the half. Should we do it? Wait, what's the fouls here real quick as well, too? Should we check the fouls? Hey, yo, chat. We got to keep an eye on that. Chet, 4 for 4. Shai, 6 for 6. 6 in the first half, so those are the only 2 guys with fouls. But I guess those are probably the only 2 guys really attacking, too, at this point. I guess we've seen Jada be aggressive, but we haven't, I don't think, necessarily seen him get all the way downhill the same way and physically attack. He sort of ends up, his drives into kind of looping back, little falling away shots, sort of. Again, he's been effective, been really good tonight, but maybe he should take advantage, chat. Who's calling these fouls? Get Jalen Williams to the free throw line. Is it Scott Foster? Is it, who else is the refs, chat? Can we get for the game? Oh, Tony Brothers. Is it Javi? Steve Javi? Let's see, chat. Oh, we don't know who the refs are for tonight's game. Let's see if we can find that roster of refs. NBA ref roster. I mean, there has to be a way to see these guys, chat. Who is responsible? Ref assignments. Okay, this might be something. Oklahoma City versus... Okay, so this will at least give us the game. Pat Fryer? Is it Pat Fryer? Tony Brothers? Scott Foster? JB DeRosa? Nobody on the G League for tonight. WNBA? Angel Kent? Janae Renew? Blanca Burns? Randy Richardson? Teresa Stunk? Tony Stank? And Tyler Merkovich, chat? Hey, yo. Oh, look at this. It tells you what the refs do? Crew chief position. Proficient in referee and umpire position. Yeah, they better be, chat. That shouldn't even be listed on here. What is this, like an Indeed application? You've got to be good in reffing? Obviously. Leader of the crew. High-level play calling. Partnering skills. Understands the importance of extending into their secondary areas of coverage with accuracy. Wait a second. So the crew chief doesn't do anything, chat? They're just a good ref? That's why Scott Foster gets away with so much all the time. Effectively the glue for the crew through consistency, teamwork, and communication. This is for the referee. Makes partners better by carrying a larger portion of the crew's load. Ayo, chat. Capable of handling some plays in secondary areas of coverage. What does that even mean? Ability to recognize appropriately manage shifts in game conditions, intensity, emotions, decorum, style of play, etc. See, why would the ref need to be good in that and not the crew chief? Versus the umpire aggressively and accurately calls plays in the primary area of responsibility. So what? This guy, so the referee is, supposed to be, the reasonable guy, and the umpire is, unhinged? They hire unhinged people for the umpires. So who's the umpire tonight? Pat Fryer? But Tony Brothers is the reasonable one, chat. No, Tony Brothers, I think, actually, I was looking at some stats, and I was like, oh, wait, Tony Brothers is solid. I forget what post we saw on Instagram. But I was like, yeah, chat, Tony Brothers might actually be the best. Is Tony Brothers the best ref in the league? Tony Brothers? I don't know. Or was the stats just Tony Brothers just not calling fouls? He's I didn't see anything, chat. Tony Brothers just the cop in the town every time. He just looks the other way. So sometimes that's not bad. Bill Kennedy in the replay center. Scott Foster, the crew chief, is the one that does nothing. The umpire responsible for basic mechanics. Strong rules knowledge. So yeah, aggressive, basic, and strong. Just kind of an unhinged, maybe knows what he's doing, call a lot of fouls. The referee will step in every now and then and be like, nah, that's not right. But I would have assumed that the responsibilities were just they're all three referees and they watch a different spot on the court. Like, I guess, again, there's like a hierarchy in if there's a ruling that needs to be made, the guy that's the crew chief is the one that makes the ruling. Maybe, again, with the various, speaking of mechanics, actually, now that I'm thinking about that, some of that might make sense with this guy kind of responsible for some rotations and maybe some of the timeouts and stuff like that. I get that, but I don't know, Chad. Seems a little sketchy. There's not a description on here for which one of these guys is responsible for handling the books, chat. Which one of these guys has the envelope that has all the payment cash in it? Is that the crew chief or is that the guy in the replay center, chat? Is Scott Foster somebody? Hey, yo, I was gonna say somebody's check Scott Foster's pocket, but that's kind of crazy. But is there some cash in there? Are we gonna see a 20 fall out of Pat Fryer's back pocket at some point? Hey, yo, chat. Hey, yo. But who knows? Shea Gilgeous. Is it Canadian dollars? If it's Canadian dollars, chat, that's gonna get real suspicious. 6 for 6 on the free throw line, and Tony Brothers is very wealthy in Canadian money. Tony Brothers has Canadian stocks, and Shea Gilgeous is winning a finals. What's happening, chat? Somebody needs to see if Tony Brothers is investing in Canadian real estate at this point. What is going on? Randall for 3. Oh, chat. Don't settle for bad looks right away. Not even running a play. What did Chris Finch draw up at the half? Is this a tough series for Chris Finch, chat? Hey, yo. Not a great possession. Shea gets right to his spot. Gets the midi. 10 points. You can hear the crowd starting to cheer up a little bit. Everybody's in their seats right at halftime start, chat. Nobody is out getting a concession right now. Actually, there is a couple people, but everybody's locked in. I mean, best crowd in the league. Chet driving, another foul. That's a foul. Is that McDaniels? That's just a bad foul, Chat. I mean, on the fast break, stopping the play, you get it. Maybe not bad foul, but that's a sloppy, a messy, a lazy attempt. At a foul. McDaniels. Actually, see, if he had just kind of played that normal, he did get all ball there, Chat. That almost was a clean block, but the follow through was just crazy. He smacked Chet on the face. And then, all the contact kind of pushing him off a spot, carrying him into the stanchion. But if he had just played the block there, he did kind of just get the block. So McDaniels, of course, a guy that can just get fouls by the nature of he'll guard Shea, so he'll get a couple of fouls just called on him. So you gotta, of course, be careful on the ones that you're not. Where's he at right now, Chat, for the game? Okay, so that's only his second foul. Not too bad. One foul in the first half is honestly that combined with, so he had one foul, was 3 for 5, and the bench played really well. DiVincenzo played well. I guess Nader Reed was 0 for 2, but all three of those, DiVincenzo, Nickeil Alexander, and Jaden Daniels all played well, and they're down, Chat, and they're losing. Hey, yo. Edwards is 1 for 7 from 3. Ant-Man. I guess we should have known, Chat. Ant-Man, what kind of superhero is that, Chat? Hey, yo. Hey, yo, Chat. Is that gonna be motivation for game 3? Is he gonna go crazy to bring him back 2-1 in the series? Ant-Man. You got a whole quarter here to lock in. It's only 11 points. The game's not out of hand yet. They just got a little, kickball foul thingy to kind of reset here. 14 seconds, get the ball back, score, bring this to single digits, start the run. Lock in on defense. Yeah, Anthony Edwards is going to take Shea. There we go. This is Anthony Edwards' time, Chat. Chet takes the 3. Anthony Edwards gets the rebound. Don't pass. Okay, yeah, pass right. Pass now. Randall, pass it back. Pass it back, Randall. Oh, he takes it all the way, Chat. Gobert is able to follow up on the offensive rebound. Yeah, he missed. Randall missed. But Gobert gets the offensive rebound. Okay. Some rushed offensive here by the Thunder the last couple of possessions. But Edwards, Chat, we need to get Edwards going. Is there the play? This is where you need the coach. This is where you need the coach to step in, to draw up the play. The free throw. We need. How many times is Chris Finch in Anthony Edwards' ear on those free throws, chat? Like Steve Kerr to Steph Curry, you know? How many times is he giving him little pieces of advice throughout the game? Chris Finch! Edwards, okay, he's got Dort. Oh, he just passes right away, chat. Is he scared of driving on Dort? Randall, I mean, Randall's been great, chat. They need Randall. But I thought Randall, part of his game was the full, you know, he can play make. Where's just settling for shots? What's this? Some tough threes? I mean, Jalen Williams on you. The Thunder are physical, but I mean, Randall, you're in the weight room, right? You can't get in the post a little bit? What's going on? Jalen Williams, guard. That's guard Jalen Williams. Did you get your scouting mixed up? I guess maybe his scouting says center Jalen Williams, take him into the post. I don't know. But that's 2 threes from the same spot, so he's really committed to, he's like, I'm going to get one. It's not practice, Julius Randle. He's like, I have to make one from this spot before I move on. Gobert at the free throw line, chat. Not necessarily them on a run, you should say, because there's multiple possessions in between each score, but they are potentially starting to work their way back here. Again, they haven't even really gotten a stop. They've just kind of gotten some misses. Dort didn't quite have the look. He gets it back, chat. Now he's open. No go. So we're maybe in for a cold Thunder third quarter. So they had that incredible performance, of course, last game. Randall, there we go. He gets down to the basket in transition. Gets to the free throw line. But maybe this time the Thunder are, you know, just not going to have the same three-point shooting percentage, same three-point shooting efficiency in this quarter that they had the last game. So, yeah, get the mismatch. So maybe, see, chat, that's what they need to have happen, I think, almost, because, you know, you're getting Randall. Randall doesn't have to dribble. You just get him right into the basket just for the layup. But, you know, he's not having to worry about taking a guy and trying to get him into the post and the physicality and all that stuff. Like, if he's almost a tight end just running around, because Edwards is almost, you know, he is kind of passing to Randall and letting Randall run some of these transitions a little bit. Like, if they let some of the other handlers run the transitions and let Randall run out, and then he can get to the basket, and then you get the passes to Randall, he can get some lay, and then if you're going quick, maybe he can attack these matchups as well too, chat. So, again, obviously, you're going to need to force some misses, play some defense here. And McDaniels is back on Shea as well, too. Is Edwards on Hartenstein? Or are they playing a zone? Timberwolves in a zone? Mike Conley's in the game, chat, so they're going zone. Hey, yo, J-Dub immediately attacks that spot. Chet in the corner for 3. Yeah, push. Randall, run. Randall's going to settle for 3 again. He's trailing. He wants the 3. There we go. The Edwards 3. Edwards passed on a corner 3. Edwards, you got to fire that. That's got to go up. Great closeout by the Thunder, and McDaniels gets the midi, chat. So McDaniels is cooking tonight. Can McDaniels save the day? He's minus 10, I guess, on the game in general. But offensively, his scoring has been impressive. So, yeah, 7-0 run in the last 3 minutes. Make it 7-2 run. Yeah, it's not even a run, chat. But they're back in it a little bit. Chet finally getting something around the basket. Chet settling for a couple 3 theirs as well, too. Chet and Randall taking some lazy shots. Edwards hasn't even had a drive. There we go. There's a seam, chat. He passed again. Where's the aggressiveness from Anthony Edwards, chat? He needs to take shots. I know where are the looks? You know, is it anything high percentage? You want to make sure you're getting the right stuff. You have great teammates, but you didn't have Lou Dort on you there. You didn't have any of the defenders. Hartenstein's not in the game. Chet's a great shot blocker, but there was a seam to attack, and plus you're Anthony Edwards. You can attack the basket and fly over these guys. Okay, Hartenstein back in the game. Did they just sub him in? Did I get that right? He may not have been there that time. Okay, Randall to post up the spin on Caruso. There we go. Settle down. Get to that left hand, chat. Hey, yo. Shea, and Shea has been a little more playmaking here. They get the Williams 3. That's Williams' first 3-pointer of the game. 1 for 4 now. on the game. OKC pushes it back to 7. 66 to 59. Conley the attack, chat. Jaden Daniels. Can he get it again? Oh, the airball layup. He airballed a layup, a floater. Jaden Daniels is attacking Mike Conley. Mike Conley's about to retire. And Jalen Williams, I guess Jaden Williams, he doesn't care, chat. He doesn't care. He's trying to get a championship. Give Mike Conley a chance. Let the old man win. What are you doing? Pass it out. Don't score on him. Edwards, there's the drive. The swooping layup. Just that little Xavier Simpson almost hook shot. So he does have 19 shots tonight, chat. He must have been fired in that second quarter while we were rambling. But at least while we're watching, I'm here to see Edwards, chat. I want to watch Edwards play. Edwards is the star player. We want to see Edwards versus Shea. We want to see the MVPs go toe for toe. Edwards not happy with the refs, chat. Is that Pat Frayer? Okay. I guess I wouldn't have known Pat Frayer beforehand, but now we got it, chat. Shout out to Pat Frayer. So yeah, Randall 0 for 3, and I guess 2 for 9, chat. That was only his second make of the day. That little spinning shot. Gobert 1 for 4. Conley 1 for 4 as well too. So I guess this push with the starters in the game is impressive, chat. They've done this without the bench guys that have actually played well. Naz Reid hasn't even hit a 3 yet either. Grabbed a couple of rebounds while he's in there. So Jalen Williams 7 for 11. Shea Gilgeous 7 for 12, chat. 21 points, 15 for Shea, 14 for Chet. And, you know, I guess again, like we're saying, they're definitely on pace they're seeming like the favorites, of course, to win the title with just how dominant these performances have been. But to compare to the Celtics a little bit too, like they did, not to say that every team doesn't need their secondary players to play well, but the projectability of Jalen Williams in that role is definitely, in that Jaylen Brown role, is definitely there. And Chet as well too. And I guess it's just the fact of the other guys sort of grabbing the finals MVP aspect of it, where again Steph is kind of the weird exception to the rule with how the finals MVP stuff sort of played out for him there, Chat. But you know, it's just like Jalen. The team makes, of course, sense when it's like, yeah, when Shea, not even Shea not scoring a lot, but it's like, and that's part of the sacrifice as well too, of just having other great players in the team. But if it's Shea with 27 and Jalen Williams with 24, 25, and Chet with the 21, 22 points, but 9 to 12, 12 rebounds, maybe 6, 7 assists in there as well too. What's he at? 2 right now, so like 4 or 5 assists potentially. But and again, that Jokic is just in a different situation where the team is, and that's why again the Thunder, of course, are here. So it's not every MVP is just who's the guy, because I guess that would have been the Westbrook case as well too. I mean, Jokic is just Westbrook, Chad, apparently, and he had Westbrook on the team with him this year, but that was the Westbrook MVP, was the crazy stats. And Jokic has a different legacy at this point in his career than Westbrook had going into his MVP as well too. That Westbrook MVP was like not the first major player accomplishment that he had, but his first MVP. Obviously, it's not like he had the finals MVP or anything like that in the books already as well. Some first team All NBAs and stuff, for sure. But either way, Chad, I guess it's just the Shea versus Wemby stuff is always gonna be there. It is what it is. We're gonna have to finally make peace with the Thunder winning a title this year, Chad. Sam Presti has built this team. He's assembled the picks, the culture. They have the setup going forward, and it really does with the window stuff and the setup stuff. It's definitely been talked about, of course, as one of the best setup teams in NBA history. But again, with a lot of the title teams too, they kind of happen, and then you're like, oh, we have a team. Versus, I was trying to think of the teams that, and we're giving them the title now, Chad, too. I'm not saying that, but just as they continue to project out as this potential team. And just to say what could happen for these young teams in this storyline. And, Minnesota's kind of in that mix as well, too, like we're saying. But the setup team where it's like, okay, at what point do we view this team as a team that should win the title? And then when do they start kind of accomplishing that stuff? Because, again, how many seasons now have we viewed OKC as a team as like, oh, they should be winning the title? But of course, we've been viewing this team as a potential. There's danger here. We saw what Shea was starting to turn into. We saw the picks. It's like, oh, they hit on some of these picks here. Chet is really good. Jalen Williams is really good. Once all these pieces start playing and as they continue to add pieces, oh, now they have cap space and trade assets as well, too, so they can make moves. And, oh, they do the Caruso trade. Oh, they use their cap space to get Hartenstein. It's like, okay, yeah. There was a point at which point we're like, there are moves to make where this team has the moves to become a title team. And now, of course, with the roster and how they're playing, where they're fully like in the title window at this point. This is the first, I guess this is officially the first year we would say that they're actually in the title window per se. But, Boston was also kind of a team like that as well, too, with Tatum and Brown, where the Tatum and Brown combo was a combo that's like, okay, this is a combo that definitely should win the title. And, again, the team was already sort of, it was definitely built around them, but there was they weren't doing the full-on tanking team because they had the other picks from the Brooklyn Nets in there as well too. But their team, they were getting into the playoffs with them as the rookies in the second year and the younger guys with some of the other star guys. And I guess, obviously with Tatum making that run as a rookie, they ended up not having any stars by the end there. But there was definitely some other players to help bring those guys along as they developed into those lead guys. But there definitely became a point before they got to the actual, like, okay, Tatum and Brown is the best players during the title window. There was a point where they're like, there should be a title window here. And, they have actually won their finals now. They've gotten the one. But again, like Denver was a team where Jokic is always a guy that you're like, you have a chance to win a finals with a guy like Jokic. But at what point were we staring down? And again, with Denver, it's like, okay, if Murray gets back, they are interesting. So I guess their title window is interesting because of the Murray injuries to some of the stuff. Milwaukee, again, it's just like, okay, which season can Giannis and just everybody actually stay healthy and they pull together and everything actually happens for them to win the title? But it's not like they're, the title window for Milwaukee is always kind of a weird thing with them. They don't have that projectable type thing that the Thunder necessarily have. But, again, a lot of times it's been players. So maybe, again, Shea is that type of player. And Shea is that type of player. Like, as long as you have Shea, you're like, we have a foundational piece for the championship going forward. But it's like we have all the pieces and the picks, and it's just the collection of assets going forward where it's like, how does this team drop off? How does this team not improve as well, too? That's the other part. It's not this team has the ability to maintain, but this team still has the ability to get better and add pieces. Shea with the bank shot and one, chat. In transition, Lou Dort on that last possession just flying in on Randall's blind side, getting the steal. Crazy stuff, chat. Let's see if we get a replay here. Shea with the front. So, yeah, off the opposite wing, it looked like. Just right from the blind side. Perfect timing. Swatted away. Great stuff, chat. Shea down the other end. Michael Shea is the point guard for the Thunder? No, Shea. Michael Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. What? The host of Weekend Update, chat? I don't know. 25 right now. 9 for 14. The efficiency, chat, is insane. And was there in the regular season. It's been there the last couple of seasons. But it has definitely carried over into the playoffs, and it's a raw number thing. Again, there's some aesthetic stuff with it. Is true, like Edwards has the aesthetics and the build of a guy like MJ, but Shea actually has the numbers. And I guess both of the things are kind of blasphemous to say in a way, but both things I guess are a little bit true as well too. So I guess in a basketball series, the person with the better basketball stuff, and again in the moment, like not to say that Anthony Edwards can't have the better basketball stuff, of course, than Shea at some point, but maybe it is the guy, of course, it's the better basketball is gonna be the one that at least wins anyways. Again, the face of the league and all that stuff is a different conversation. But again, you can always kind of look to be like seeing what the comparison is, but a lot of times the comparisons, they just kind of happen and you're just like, oh, wait a second, this guy is this guy. So I get Shea is a little bit more patient. There's a different, again, aesthetic to his game. Like, he is a little unique, chat. I don't know if he's necessarily a one of one, because maybe going back to the 70s, I don't know if there was, with the way the mid-range game was played, I guess throughout any era of NBA history, but with the focus on the mid-range in the past, I don't know if there's a guy that had the same herky-jerky style and the same as Shea. They have like a comparison thing on here, like a win share career, like what do your career stats look like compared to some other legends. So I don't know if that would give us a prompt for like what would his 2K player package similar to somebody else's as well too. So statistically through 6 seasons, win share similar to Vince Carter, Terrell Brandon, Penny Hardaway, Gilbert Arenas, Steve Francis, Isaiah Thomas, Pistons Isaiah Thomas, Gary Payton, Ray Allen, Fat Lever, and Richie Guerin. So Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is like Fat Lever 2.0, chat. That could be Fat Lever 6'3", 170. Yeah, a little shorter than Shea. A little different type of game operating the mismatches. But what was the Penny Hardaway? Penny Hardaway is interesting. I think Penny Hardaway, I think maybe, did he play a little bit more slashery? I don't know if we're allowed to watch Penny Hardaway highlights here, chat. Do I just pull up Penny Hardaway highlights on a second tab real quick? And just like, okay, you guys will have to trust me on the player comparison aspect of it. Or I guess you just go watch Penny Hardaway and then watch some Shea and see what happens. Gilbert Arenas. Shea is Gilbert Arenas 2.0. Steve Francis, again, I think played a little bit more above the rim than AO, chat. Above the rim? Is that on Tubi right now? I think he played a little bit more of a high flyer style than Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. 18 a game, 43% from the field for his career. Early in his season, like the first 5 seasons or so, 43% still would have been about the same throughout. So again, Shea is in the 50s. Each of the last, I guess, 4 of the last 5 seasons, but each of the last 3 at 50+%. And at 20 shots a game, chat, I mean, do we need to go to the stat head real quick? A little live research here, chat. How many guys have the 50% on 20 shots a game? Because even for some of the centers, again, with some of the field goal percentage overall to the scoring stuff, the centers definitely have advantage as well too, because they can tend to get shots obviously a little bit closer to the basket. And then when you do get the guards on there in the mix, it's like, oh, that really highlights the efficiency because of the average distance stuff. And again, it's why MJ is awesome, because he was making shots, chat. Hot take. But for other historical comparisons, let's see here. So field goal attempts, we're looking per game. We got to remember per game. Field goal attempts per game, more than 20, but also with a field goal percentage of more than 50, chat. Making over half his shots, taking 20 a game, mid-range, upping his 3-point attempts as well too, and still, his 3-point efficiency has gone up, so that's helped maintain the overall efficiency. But, just increasing all the aspects of his game as well too. So 20 shots a game, 50%. Let's see. Kareem, chat. Hey, yo. Kareem in the mix like crazy. Yeah, the centers are going to be all over the place, chat. Let's see. So do we narrow this out by guard real quick? Shout out to all of our beloved centers in out NBA history, but just to help get an easier visual on the stats. So yeah, chat, we got Steph Curry, of course. Oscar Robertson. Yeah, chat. Kyrie. How many games did he play this year? 54. Oh, Kyrie, we got you. he thought he could sneak into some of these historical legacy stats. He's like, let me take a couple games off, have a really efficient season, and see if I can sneak in here. But Kyrie, we know what you're up to. 54 games played in Brooklyn. You were taking time off. Lou Hudson, in 71, 72, 77 games played, 50% from the field. What was his points per game that year, chat? Does it have it on here? I guess it has his total points. Well, let's just get a per game listing of all of the stats. It'll be a little bit easier to look at it that way. Our guy Lou Hudson, chat. I gotta know per game. Was he leading the league in scoring? Not quite. 24 a game in 71, 72. Who was possibly leading the league in scoring? So I know, chat, we doubted the Thunder earlier in the third quarter, but give it time. Here we go. The 15-point lead. The defense every time, chat. Chet in transition. The lob. The slam. 17-point lead. Timeout for Chris Finch. Chat, he decided to wake up and coach. He's like, oh, wait a second. We're down by 17. Let me call a timeout here. Hey, yo, chat. The game spiraling out of control. If anything, the Timberwolves are just going to be glad to be back home, chat. The home crowd, this OKC crowd. Unbelievable. The geo-lock tickets. There's nobody else allowed, chat. They've segregated the rest of the nation off from buying tickets in OKC. I didn't even know that that's allowed. What are the rules, chat? They put a tariff on the tickets for the non-OKC people. It's just insane politics, but the fans are crazy, chat. That's the other side of it. It's like, well, look at the fans. They're crazy. It's like, well, NBA is a little bit different, but Clyde also in the mix on this list. So, I mean, again, MJ's greatness multiple times, but Shea is also the only other guy here multiple times, chat. So, George Gervin as well. George Gervin, a little forwardy, for sure. For sure. We definitely want him to qualify on the list, but we do have to be fair. I guess Shea is definitely a little versatile with his game as well. Wait a second. What was this Lou Hudson season? 71, 72? Okay, wait a second, chat. Just a little quick check for the 71, 72 season. Milwaukee won the title that year. Kareem. Cowens and Geoff Petrie, Rookie of the Year. Kareem also Most Valuable Player. Geoff Petrie, Rookie of the Year. Shout out Geoff Petrie, chat. Lou Hudson, was he on All-NBA? First team, maybe? First team? Lou Hudson didn't make it all. Oh, that's all defense. Here we go. All-NBA. Oh, he didn't, chat. Lou Hudson didn't make an All-NBA at 24 a game. Maybe he would have made third team if they had a third team back then. Bob Love? Who's Bob Love? How is Bob Love on third team All-NBA or second team All-NBA and not Lou Hudson? Oh, Bob Love was 25 a game? 25.8? Back-to-back seasons, Bob Love was second team All-NBA. Nobody talks about Butterbean Bob Love. Hey, yo, chat. Butterbean Bob Earl Love. An iconic forward in NBA history. Wait, who did he play for? Who he play for? The Cincinnati Royals? Who is this team? Yeah, Cincinnati Royals. I was like, wait, is that the baseball team? No. That was the old basketball team. Then the Bucks. Then the Bulls. So did most of his had most of his high-level seasons in Chicago, chat. So do Chicago fans know? I mean, obviously you guys know about Bob Love, but Chicago fans, everybody just talks about MJ. Does Bob Love need a statue or a jersey up in the arena? Is Bob Love have his jersey retired in Chicago? Is 3 All-Stars enough? 3 All-Stars, but how many seasons here logging MVP votes? Like his impact carried throughout multiple seasons, even if it wasn't being recognized league-wide. All defenses as well, too. Do they have jersey retirement on here? I don't think they do, but that should be a stat listed on the accomplishments. Jersey retirement, because that is an accomplishment, obviously, to any degree. Even if it's a guy like Nick Collison or Udonis Haslem or something, it's like, okay, there was an accomplishment that led to them getting the jersey retired. That should still be recognized as a part of their basketball career. So 1.9% chance for Bob Love to make the Hall of Fame someday if we just run out of guys. All very similar to Pascal Siakam, chat. Similar careers to Siakam. Makes sense. I can see it. You know, hovering in those All-NBA conversations. Maybe get some MVP votes as well, too. Siakam, all defense? Does Siakam have all defensive appearance? He's a good two-way player. I don't know if he's been an all-defensive guy. All-defensive second team? No, chat. And yeah, only 2 All-NBA. So honestly, Bob Love, a little bit more accomplished than Siakam, chat. We got to be honest. Gerald Wallace? Okay, chat. Now, are we being disrespectful to Bob Love here? Troy Murphy? Wally Zerbiak? Sean Elliott? Here we go. This is a comp right here, chat. 20 points a game. Good two-way player. Multiple All-Stars. Makes a lot of sense. But again, kind of 3 times and then just a lot of MVP votes where, again, probably would have been on some third-team All-NBAs as well here, too. Maybe these couple of seasons. Maybe even this one. 16, 15. Kind of in the mix here. 19. Top 15. Who knows? Edwards with the block on Dort? Is that what just happened? We're writing Minnesota off, chat. Or we're trusting the Thunder. I think we're trusting the Thunder to close this one out. Have we seen... We did see the Thunder... What was the deficit they gave up in that Denver game, chat? What is the largest deficit they did give up in that series? Because, again, we have seen the Knicks now have a game like the Celtics where they gave up a lead. I guess I don't think we saw the Pacers give up a lead either. But they did make the comebacks and stuff. But I don't think we've seen them give up a lead as well, like we said. So, yeah. But OKC, they have had also like we said, just the super dominant performances too. So, not like they haven't given us anything to trust, chat. We're almost out of snacks. We need to re-up on the mason jar of snacks. Stay tuned tomorrow, chat. DM us at Reminiscent on Instagram. Maybe we'll put up a poll for what the next snack should be. Look out, it'll be exciting. But shout out to Bob Love. Anyways. Hey, yo. So what did happen with Lou Hudson, chat? What happened this year? It seemed like there was a lot of players scored some points. Or maybe he was just one of the higher scorers as well, too. So, yeah, Lou Hudson, number 7 in scoring. And he can't make the All-NBA team. You got Dave Bing, 27 a game. Elvin Hayes, 28 a game. Just left off the team as well, too, chat. Wait, let's see how good the Hawks were this year. 36 and 46. Okay. Richie Guerin, the head coach. Legendary player. Walt Bellamy, I guess year 9. Not probably the same Walt Bellamy. Yeah, 14 a game. 35 minutes. 49% from the field. 14 and 12. So Walt Bellamy's still pretty productive anyways. Like, not necessarily bad Walt Bellamy seasons, but not the, 25 to 30 points you were getting him. More like the 30 points to 25 that you were getting at him from him earlier in the season. But they had Walt Bellamy and Walt Hazard, the best Walt duo in NBA history. Is that who just hit the 3 there, Chad? Is that Dort? Corner 3? Uh-oh. Is it spiraling out of control, chat? Edwards behind the back to DiVincenzo in the corner. Not able to get it to go. No rebound. Shea. He's going to settle this down. I thought we were going to get the mid-range, but no. They get it to Chet. Chet, another dunk. He's been fantastic. He's been a menace in the paint, chat. He's been getting dunks all over the place. He can't be stopped. Where's the physicality from the Timberwolves? Who's picking up Chet in transition? Hey, yo, chap. But they had a rookie, Pistol Pete, as well, too. This was Pistol Pete's rookie team. So Pistol Pete was hogging all the attention, chap. Everybody was over here wowed about Pistol Pete and all of his moves. And meanwhile, Lou Hudson's 26. Wait, 48%? Are the stats wrong? Or are we looking at the wrong season? 71-72. What season do we have right here? Oh, 70-71. Okay, wait a second. Let's go one more season and see. Oh, just same thing, chat. Atlanta Hawks, same score every year. Doesn't matter. It can be 2024, 2025, or it can be the 1970s. Atlanta is just a 500 team, or in that mix. They'll just have the same record every year. But this year they did make the playoffs anyways. Lost to Boston in 6, so a feisty team that hung with the Celtics. I imagine, did the Celtics also win the title this year? I guess we saw Milwaukee won the title in that last year that we were looking at. So Boston lost to the Knicks. Knicks lost to the Lakers. Okay, so the Lakers won the finals in 70-71. So that would have been what, like West and Chamberlain, Gail Goodrich, and those guys. But Atlanta, so Walt Bellamy another year. I guess Pistol Pete another year as well too. Lou Hudson, still a lot of the same guys. Chat. No Walt Hazard. Oh, Walt Hazard wasn't able to be on the playoff team. Jeff Halliburton. Any relation to Tyrese? Jeff Halliburton related to Julius Erving, but not Tyrese Halliburton? What is happening here, chat? Wait, is Tyrese Halliburton 1 L or 2 L's? Oh, 1 L, chat. So, I don't know. Different spelling? I guess it would say if it was related anyways. Drake University? He went to university in the home state, so that also makes me think he's a Halliburton, chat. Because again, Tyrese Halliburton also went to college in the state of Iowa. Well, I guess he went to Iowa State, but Drake University is also near Iowa State, I think, if I'm getting the location of it right. It's closer to Iowa State than it is Iowa City, anyways. But yeah, Jeff Halliburton. Again, if they both went to college in the same area, both have the same last name, but Jeff Halliburton added an L. What happened, chat? Hey, yo, we don't need to dig up the Halliburton family history. Maybe a couple of, who knows, chat, but related to Dr. J. Anyways, so is Tyrese Halliburton potentially related to Dr. J? Hey, yo, chat, that could be kind of crazy. A legendary basketball family. We thought maybe the Currys were the most legendary basketball family, but if Halliburton and Dr. J were related, I mean, it's not a Steph Curry thing, obviously, but with all due respect to Del Curry, oh, chat, Case and Wallace for 3, 93-69. Minnesota stuck at 69. Hey, yo, chat. So they're 11 points away from 80. They'll definitely, but they have to get to 88, though. Can they get to 88 even in this game? They're at 71 now, so 71-93. I guess they're still going to be a little, 22, chat. Are they going to be motivated to try in this the fourth quarter? I don't know. If they're not motivated, can they potentially put up 17 more points? Is it too much to ask for them to get to 89? I guess they would have to get to 18 more points to match the production of the last game. Hey, yo, chat. Outscored them 35-21 in that quarter. Impressive stuff. Once again, third quarter domination by the Oklahoma City Thunder. Foot on the gas, chat. Got a foot up on the gas because somebody's got to do it, chat. Pause. Hey, yo. Somebody's got to do it. OKC's got their foot on the gas right now, chat. They are going against these teams. So I guess we're just going to have to keep diving into Walt Bellamy and this Lou Hudson 70s run. Jim Washington, a little 12 a game. Don Adams, Harry Gilliam. Okay. Another fun potential 2K team for sure. But apparently not enough to get Lou Hudson on the All-NBA mix this year. Walt Bellamy, 25th in MVP voting. Pistol Pete, 21st. Walt Bellamy, 18 a game as well. Spencer Haywood, some MVP votes as well. Shout out Spencer Haywood. Bob Love. Speaking of Bob Love, chat. Shout out Bob Love. Paul Silas, Jerry Lucas. Archie Clark as well. Kazzy Russell. Loki, all-time great name. Sidney Wicks is another great name as well too, chat. I mean, Pete Maravich is not a bad name either, if we're being honest. But yeah, apparently no love for our guy Lou Hudson this year, chat. All-NBA teams. Archie Clark making an All-NBA team. Also 25 a game, though. All-NBA this year. Kareem at 34. Nate Archibald, 28. So they were putting up points in the 70s again, chat. Crazy scoring decade for sure. Spencer Haywood at 26. Spencer Haywood, another guy. Spencer Haywood and Walt Bellamy. Underrated, chat. Underrated. You know who definitely has a spot on our all-time roster as a, you know, I don't know if I would say sixth man, but on the bench in a respectful way, off the bench as a main part of the lineup, as a main part of we can use the versatility as they provide. A guy like Spencer Haywood, a guy like Walt Bellamy, just the peak basketball player versions. Again, look at the way these guys started the league, and I get the 70s, chat, the history of it's a crazy time for the league, but it doesn't mean that, again, the way the careers turned out. The 70s is crazy because of the way a lot of the careers turned out for a lot of the players, but it's also insane because a lot of these players were really talented, chat, really talented, and it does again kind of help maybe clear the way in a little bit for NBA history now, because again, you go to the 80s, the 84 draft, all that, Magic and Bird entering the league in the late 70s, like, the way the league becomes stacked throughout the 70s, the 80s, or sorry, the 80s, the 90s, and then the 2000s, of course, maybe a little bit of like okay, we're not necessarily like a full leap forward, but then the 20 teens and then the 2020s, of course, have been really insanely stacked with talent as well, too. So, and I do think that for me, I think I've said it before, chat, but I'll say it again. I'll get on this corner for sure. Would I pick? And again, this is a weird take for the Spurs fan who just this team dominated the 2000s, but I just think I think some of these legends from the 70s, chat, are just fun guys to go back and look at the basketball reference pages and the insane numbers and like the starts to the careers. It's like, oh, there's some fun basketball talent here that doesn't get mentioned. And again, maybe it's just the discovery aspect of it, where we know a lot of these names from these characters from this run from the 2000s. Like, it's not like there's, maybe we go back and look at some of these 9th and 10th men and be like, oh, again, well, who's that guy, Vladimir Danovich? Like, oh yeah, I forget about that guy. But, you're not like, oh, wait, who is this guy scoring? Spencer Haywood putting up 30 and 19. And I guess he won the MVP as a rookie, chat. Oh, that was in the ABA. But still, first season in the NBA, though, 20 and 12. Welcome to the league. Hey, yo, chat. But then right back on track. 26 and 12, 29 and 12, 29 and 13, 23 and 13. Multiple MVPs, first team All-NBAs, ultimately in the Hall of Fame as well, too. But, I mean, Bob McAdoo, chat, give me the All-70s lineup. Speaking of this all AI team, I want to coach the all 70s team. That's the decade I'm signing up for. They say, what decade do you want to coach? Maybe everybody's gonna want the can we search the 90s all decade team? Everybody's gonna want the 90s because of MJ. I guess you get multiple chances to pick LeBron throughout all the decades. But all these other teams we're just gonna sit back, let all these legendary teams go off the board, and then we'll take the 70s all decade team, and then Bob Love, Spencer Haywood, and Lou Hudson are gonna go out there and get we're gonna lose by 40, but it is what it is, chat. We're gonna have a good time. This team is the best after party team of any of these teams. That's for sure. We're gonna have the bus ride is insane. The poker hands to and from the game are going to get it out of control. You thought the off the field stories about the Legion of Doom Seahawks, or I guess like the practice stories about like the intensity and the chaos and all the fights. They're like, no, chat, the all 70s team, this team's going crazy. Maybe not fights, but just, probably fights. Definitely some fights. Do we get David Thompson in our all 70s lineup as well too? So that was that Lou Hudson, chat? 71, 72, Atlanta. Another guy that got 20 points, 50% from the field, but only one season. We said that Kyrie season. Oscar, he got to 50% right on the dot, chat. So he would be a guy that you would be surprised that with the way the game was played if he had a little bit of a higher percentage. But also, again, efficiency wasn't necessarily the main mark back in the day. So I guess he was, 48% for his whole career. And maybe the 20-point thing is the part that's throwing it off. Oh, wait, Chad, he has 2 seasons on here. So why is it not listing that second season? Am I crazy? Is the stat head wrong? Are we going to have to start doubting the stat head, chat? Uh-oh. The stat head. Sometimes it'll do that, chat. Sometimes it's not always spitting out all the stats. It is what it is. but maybe we're just not looking at the season fully right. But games played. Let's check games played. 69 games played to wait. What was the other one? 65 maybe. Oh wait, no. Was it this 30 point? Oh, 50%. Here we go. 29 points a game, 50%. Oh, 20 shots a game. We're looking at 20 shots, not 20 points. That's what it was, Chad. It was the field goal volume. Oh, Lou Hudson was putting up shots, Chad. The 70s team. Hey, yo. I mean, he was getting the points, but still also an efficient player. So, I guess this the 51% season, he was at 18.4 field goal attempts a game. So, yeah, his scoring was, I guess, a little bit down from 20. 29, obviously. You're probably going to be at 20 shots a game, regardless. Unless, I guess your Jokic is actually at that number without that. But, okay, he's like 65% from the field and stuff like that. But 29 and 9 and 6, 5th in MVP voting, first team All-NBA. So a couple of seasons before Lou Hudson was starting to contend for the potential All-NBA spots. Not a lot of MVPs this year. Wilt Chamberlain, Lenny Wilkins, second in MVP voting as a player. Wow, chat. I think, of course, he is inducted as both a player and a coach. But you kind of think that sometimes it's like, okay, is he, like, maybe is the player status boosted a little bit? Because they're not in a disrespectful way, but he did make a ton of All-Stars, 9 All-Stars. Yeah, you did a decade of All-Stars. You got to be a Hall of Famer at that point. Wait, how many All-Stars does Kyle Lowry have? Kyle Lowry doesn't have 10, does he? But he does have a title in there as well, too. Okay, he has 6. But, yeah, he might be a Hall of Famer as well. MVP, or, sorry, no MVPs, but All-Star Game MVP, I guess. Assist champion, top 75 player in league history as well, too. So, 20 points a game, 20 and 8, and second in MVP voting, and then 17 and 9. So, at the peak of his powers, he was basically 18 and 9, 20 and 8, something in that range. 19.6 points a game, 8.9 assists a game, and 43% from the field, a little bit lower on that side of things, but 46% his most efficient season anyways. So it did start to take a turn there and didn't get really a chance to play with a three-point line as well too. So those stats, of course, aren't going to be really a factor. 6'1", 180. Oh, chat, what's the switchability for our guy Lenny Wilkins? Okay, so Minnesota's at 80 now, chat. Oh, we're just checking the boxes for a minute. It's not even about can they win the game at this point. They got to 80, but yeah, they're down 17 still. Haven't necessarily brought the score back in either way. In chat, they've got Air running on Pluto TV, the Matt Damon Nike Jordan movie, which I'm not going to lie, I have not seen yet. So these first couple of opening scenes, the most I've ever seen. I just saw, they said Bob McAdoo on the closed captions, so I'm kind of wanting to watch the rest of this. But I don't know if I just want to watch this no sound chat for the first time. It's like, oh, wait a second, no, look, spoilers. I mean, it's been out for a couple of years at this point, or a year or whatever. And how have we not watched this as well, too? Obviously, the Michael Jordan shoe movie. But it is what it is, chat. As we boycott new stuff, we're not boycotting. It's just, how many movies can you watch in a day, chat? It's like, do I want to watch a new movie? Or do I just want to go back and watch Rush Hour for the 120th time? If I've only got time for one movie, is it going to be Air or is it going to be Boomerang again? Who knows? But we might have to switch this because I did also see that they're playing Control on the R&B channel as well, too, chat. And, it's getting late. That's a yawn for the audio podcast people, just in case they're like, wait, what just happened over there on the thing? But it's wrapping up, chat. The game is starting. Hey, yo, pause. It's the game is starting to get out of hand. The night is starting to take a turn. At least here in the Midwest, I guess it's not even 10 o'clock, chat. So we're like, hey, yo, but time to get the hot milk out, the tea, start winding down for the night. But yeah, start getting the late night vibes, chat. Start getting some of the R&B vibes. Wait, what? I think I'm scrolling the wrong way. Let me go up. Hopefully it was actually that, because I didn't see if it was actual, I didn't read the description. It's like, okay, what else could it possibly be? Oh, we're in the movie section. I thought I was just in the favorites section. So let's go back here, chat. Sorry, we're getting there. We almost have it fired up. We just have to scroll through all the FS1 stuff. Whitney Cummings stand-up specials playing on Pluto right now, chat. Okay, I think we're gonna... No, shout out, but... Whitney Cummings or SZA? Hey, yo, chat. Oh, no, wait, we got a couple of minutes to start. I guess we have to watch the end of this Supreme R&B run? Okay. I'm down, chat. It is what it is. But, yeah, wait. Oh, so Lenny Wilkens? Some all-star games for our guy, Lenny Wilkens. A second in MVP voting. Wilt Chamberlain, Lenny Wilkens, Elgin Baylor, David Bing, Oscar Robertson that year. David Bing and Lenny Wilkens over Oscar Robertson in MVP voting. 29-year-old Oscar Robertson, 30-year-old Lenny Wilkens. Wait, what's Oscar's numbers? Yeah, he was 25, or that 29 pointer, and then that efficiency. That is pretty crazy, chat. Wait, what was St. Louis their record? 56 and 26. Ricky Guerin again. Oh, I guess the Hawks just moving around. Oh, so the Hawks, they go from Lenny Wilkens to Lou Hudson, chat. A legendary run. Would you look at that? Dave Bing, or I guess we want Detroit anyways. 24-year-old Dave Bing. 40 and 42. Donnie Butcher, the coach for the Pistons, chat. Donnie the Butcher was their coach. Whoa. Maybe a mafia guy running the team. Detroit, the 60s. Do we need to do a timeline? Cabo Arena. We need to see if they maybe fix some of these games. But why was Detroit over Cincinnati? Maybe Cincinnati wasn't very good this year. 39 and 43. Yeah, chat. No Kareem quite yet. Jerry Lucas, though. 2 first-team All-NBA guys. And they won 39 games. Happy Hairston, also on the team. Oscar missing some time. Happy Hairston missing some time. Adrian Smith. Oh, Bob Love. Speaking of Bob Love, there he is again, chat. Hopefully Bob Love wasn't bringing the team down. We don't want to see that. We only assume our guy Bob Love was additive. So wait, the ABA Most Valuable Player Trophy is also called the Michael Jordan Trophy. Michael Jordan didn't play in the ABA. We can't retroactively like rename that the Dr. J Trophy. Dr. J, does he have a trophy? Red Auerbach Coach of the Year. I guess, does he have some of the defensive? He doesn't, because Hakeem has the defensive. Bill Russell has the finals, of course. Wilt has the rookie. Havlicek has 6-man. Mikan has most improved. Jerry West has clutch player. So yeah, chat, just name the All-NBA teams after guys. The Dr. J first team All-NBA team. Who gets the second and the third team, chat? Because anybody, it's like a lot of guys are first team All-NBA guys throughout history, and then it's just, you know, stacking all the different years of history on top of each other. But the Anthony Davis second team All-NBA is kind of right there for sure. The Devin Booker third team All-NBA. Wembanyama, let's save a spot for our guy Wembanyama to have a trophy named after him. Ayo, chat. But Oscar, of course, first. Yeah, him and Jerry Lucas both first team All-NBA. 21 and 19. Almost a 2020 for the full season. Wilt putting up a 2020. So a guy like Jerry Lucas just doesn't get talked about in NBA history because he was 1 rebound off, chat. He was how many games away back they play back then? He was, I guess, 82 for himself, but was he 82 rebounds away from averaging 20 rebounds a game? Is that how the math works? Am I overthinking it or underthinking it, or I don't know, chat. But I guess he would have been the 20-point 50%. I don't know if he would have been 20 shot 50% field, but you would have had 1 Oscar season in there as well and 2 Dale Ellis seasons. So is Shai Gilgeous headed down the George Gervin, Michael Jordan path, or is he another Dale Ellis on this list, chat? Speaking of Seattle, Dale Ellis, former Sonic, some definite parallels from this team. Played from 84 to 2000. The silent assassin, chat. Whoa. Shai Gilgeous, maybe he carries himself kind of similarly to Dale Ellis. Who would have thought this was the historical comparison, chat? 6'7"? Whoa! I guess he didn't necessarily have the same sort of league-wide success, but he did have that 27-point-a-game season, 47% from the field that year, and made third-team All-NBA in 1988, 1999. And again, this would have been his second to last season in Seattle. And then to the Spurs. Oh, yeah, Dale Ellis was on the Spurs, wasn't he, chat? 2 years, 93, 94. Shout out. Dale Ellis was on the team that got taken down. I guess a lot of these teams got taken down in the playoffs in the 90s. It's not like we won a title in the 90s, but still good. Still love that run. Need to go back and add a lot of those games to the watch list. And then played for Denver. Maybe had one of the more fun careers. Is Dale Ellis like a sneaky, fun career guy, chat? Dallas in the 80s? So what, is he playing with like Mark Aguirre in Dallas? Yeah, chat, Mark Aguirre and Rolando Blackman. Pat Cummings, ayo. Shout out, pause. Derek Harper. Played on this team for a couple of years. Mark West. Went to Seattle. Oh, OKC's at 100, chat. 102 to 86. It is what it is. Played with Tom Chambers in Seattle. Tom Chambers, Eddie Johnson, Darrell Henderson, Maurice Lucas, Alton Lister? Chat, the 7-footer from Arizona State, Alton Lister. Curtis Kitchen sounds like a fun player too. For some reason, the name Alton Lister stands out. I don't know why. I don't think I would know of Alton Lister's career. A 6-6? Solid, chat. Solid guy. 15th in MVP voting. In 82-83. Shout out to Alton Lister. So maybe we were looking at some MVP ballots. I didn't realize it. Bernie Bickerstaff on the team as a coach. And at 36-43, they made it to the Western Conference Finals. Wow, chat. The 87 playoffs. Chaos. They took down the Mavericks 3-1. Dallas this year. Speaking of Mark Aguirre, Rolando Blackman, Detlef Schrempf, Dennis Nutt. Hey, yo, chat. Who is this guy? Dennis Nutt. He wasn't even drafted, apparently. Just in the league for... Just not in the league for 1 year, chat? Hey, yo. What is this? Can we say that? YouTube, are we still live? We're just talking about Dennis Nutt. This basketball player. That's crazy, chat. What a name. Yikes. Sam Perkins. I think we might have already mentioned him, but I don't really know, chat. I can't remember much now. 55-27. Eliminated. The Houston Rockets, 86-87. Hakeem getting taken down by Alton Lister. Hey, yo, chat. Hey, yo. Hakeem, Dirk Minefield, Cedric Maxwell, Roger McCreary, Robert Reed, Ralph Sampson at 26, 15 a game. Still an all-star, though. Looks like he probably got hurt. Probably not in the playoffs. Let's see here, chat. Oh, no, he did play for the playoffs. 18 a game in the playoffs. Okay, so Ralph Sampson was good in the playoffs. They just lost. Hey, yo. Hey, I don't know if we go series stats for Hakeem. Led the playoffs in blocks and rebounds. Or no, blocks and field goal attempts. 61% though, 29-11 and 4.3. Hakeem, how do you lose this series, my guy? Six games? Oh, some close battles. A 2-point loss. A 15-point loss there. Yeah, that can happen, of course. Some of those middle games can get away from you. And then that last game, of course, fighting for your life, Chad. Hakeem with 49 in the last game. Just 49-25? This game is just lost to history, chat. Okay, watch list. We might have to write this down, chat. Hakeem game 6. This is crazy. I want to see. Okay, wait. We're down the rabbit hole, chat. We're all over the weeds. It's 86-102. 6 minutes left. I mean, OKC, they're about to go up 2-0. I guess Minnesota could swing this going back home, but both of the games, the formula has been very similar. The defensive pressure has been too much for Minnesota to handle for the course of the 48 minutes. And Edwards himself has just not played up to the level of that typical best player status, or whatever you want to phrase it. His stats have not been good in the first 2 games, and maybe the home court will help them out. But really, OKC themselves I mean, they have played well, but then playing well is just playing good defense. So if they're not going to play good defense in Minnesota, then I guess there's a chance that they obviously lose at that point, but it's just going to be relying on that part of it not happening. So Hakeem at 40. Anyways, back to the weeds, chat. Hakeem at 49 points, 25 rebounds, 6 blocks. 18 points for our guy, Robert Reed. What happened on Seattle, chat? Speaking of Dale Ellis, bringing it all the way back around, 36 points, and he takes down Hakeem, chat. Tom Chambers and Dale Ellis. Alton Lister, maybe not as important as we thought. 4 for 7, 11 points. But those two guys putting up a 35 plus. Sometimes that happens in NBA history, chat. Sometimes that happens. You're just like, wait, how did Hakeem lose in these playoffs? Like, Hakeem shouldn't lose in the playoffs any year, especially when he's putting up 49 and 25. But when you got two players putting up 70 points combined, you know. I guess Hakeem almost matching that himself, though, chat. Hakeem and Robert Reed, it's almost enough, though. Just the rest of the team. 2 for 12, 8 for 25, 7 for 22, chat. Ralph Sampson, just not quite cutting it for that one. But only a 3-point loss. A second overtime. Chat, I want to see if that game's on the YouTube right now. We might just watch it right now. Hey, yo. Game 1, Dale Ellis again. Dale Ellis was on fire this series. Dale Ellis at 28 a game. This might be the Dale Ellis series. 49 and 39. This is this. Speaking of Apex Mountain, that has got to be Apex Mountain for Dale Ellis. Almost 30 a game, and you take you upset Hakeem Olajuwon in a series. I mean, how do you check more boxes than that? That's pretty crazy, chat. That's about as good as you can get for anybody. Let's see here. Total points. The next series, I guess he goes 28. Oh, the series before that, he was 29 a game against Dallas, 28 a game against Houston. Goes to 16 a game, 38% from the field against the Lakers in the next 4. So Dale Ellis just catching fire on these in this playoffs for two series. Is that just the most random playoff run of all time? I guess we should scroll down, chat. He does have a lot of other really good playoff runs as well, too. Multiple 20-point a game. Pretty efficient in the next couple of years as well. They go Western Conference semis multiple times, you know. Unfortunately, though, his playoff series in San Antonio, he was only 12 points a game and 35%, and they lost, chat. 0-3. It is what it is. Denver, 94-95. Mutombo? Is that what was it? Dale Ellis Mutombo? Is that why we know this team? Fat Lever? Who else was on the team? Oh, Jalen Rose. Yeah, Mutombo, Jalen Rose, Dale Ellis, 11 a game. The balance, chat. Bryant Sith? Who is this guy? Stith? Reggie Williams? Robert Pack? Rodney Rogers? Robert Pack sounds like a dude, chat. Robert Pack? A point guard? I would have thought he would have been like a bruising power forward or something. Robert Pack. Hey, yo, chat. Shout out. But, yeah, so anyways, why are we looking at... Oh, Dale Ellis had the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander type season. And this one, he was also 50% from the field. Just, oh, yeah, I guess we were saying he had the multiple seasons as well, too, there early in his career. So is this as good as it gets for Shai, chat? Just a couple of runs here, couple of seasons, 50%. I guess he's already had the best seasons of his career. Then from here on out, it's just whatever happened for the rest of Dale Ellis's career. But yeah, these 3-4 seasons anyways, he was 25.5 points a game, 50% from the field, and 41% from the free throw line, chat. Do we just need to... This might also be a summer project as well, too, chat. Do we just need to go, like, the most random best seasons in NBA history and just see if we can watch some of these highlights? Because... Again, Dale Ellis is obviously cooking. Obviously a great player. I mean, his career, 15 a game. You know, some of these tailed off. So we could go even more seasons here. Like, you know, go a whole decade run of stuff. 87 to 94, I guess not quite a decade. But 20 points a game, still 49 and 40%. So maybe Dale Ellis, just one of the more underrated players in NBA history. At one All-Star, maybe the best non-All-Stars. The best one-time All-Stars, you know, you get a guy like Mike Conley, but just some of these random pop-off scoring seasons. We're shout out. Like, even Shea, still has stuff to prove, Chad. Who is higher on the all-time legacy rankings right now, Dale Ellis or Shea? Has Shea played enough games to pass Dale Ellis? But still, to see his name on the mix with, again, Shea, MJ, Oscar. I guess we said Shea first, Chad, but, some timeline stuff. Shea, Steph, MJ, Gervin, chat. So Gervin 79-80, chat, of course, legendary figure in San Antonio. They are underrated for, I think, how competitive they were a little bit back in the day. Of course, they never, and, having some peak years in the ABA as well, too, chat. They never, I think, did they make a Western? They did make a West Finals. They didn't, winning the 2-3 playoff series back then. A little bit different. But lost that Game 7 to the Bullets. I think we've looked at this Game 7 before, chat. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to put this Game 7 in. Oh, no, okay, we are. There is one that we're not going to put in, and I'm blocking it out of my memory right now, so we can go fact check that one. But this loss is, just a tough loss anyways to see on paper. 2-point loss with a chance to go to the NBA Finals on the line. Scoring 42 a game. So, again, this is one of these seasons where it's like, oh, George Gervin never made the finals. It's like, well, Game 7, he scored 42, had 6 assists, 50% from the field, and you got Bob Dandridge, Elvin, a team that was in the finals back-to-back years because of this combination. Wes Unseld 0 for 5, chat. So, Bob and Dandridge versus George Gervin. So, what game am I thinking of here in this run? There is a, not to put him on blast, again, he had some great games in here. He's a legendary player. A career 50% as well, too, from the field. So, could be a rare thing for the guard, forward, E-type players. But if we go to the NBA stuff, and hopefully I'm wrong, Chad. Hopefully there's not that game in here that I'm thinking of. 8 for 22, Game 7 versus Houston, chat. 21 points. Not ideal. That's for sure. 4 for 11, Game 5 in that series. No, that's not the one we were just looking at. But 1985 versus Denver. 12 points in that one. After a 41-pointer in Game 2. But that was all he had, chat. And then Game 3, a little worse. Game 4 and 5. Not great. So, yeah, this was the one I was thinking of, chat. A 100-105 loss. Hakeem. Another Game 7. Hakeem. Moses Malone, chat. I guess we're not quite to Hakeem yet. Yeah, 81 would be Hakeem, obviously, in 84. Calvin Murphy at 42. Just these random guys, chat, taking the Spurs down in the playoffs. It is what it is. But he was, you got Mark Olberding next to him. Reggie Johnson, George Johnson. James Silas, of course, good player throughout his career, though. But, this Houston team might have just been better anyways. And Moses Malone as well. So we might, chat, we might have to do a Moses Malone film study as well, too, this summer. Make no mistake, we're going to watch, as well, I don't know, spoiler alert, whatever, but we're going to watch some legendary performances on the pod this summer. I don't know what games yet, but I just, I want to watch some historic games, chat. It is what it is. We want to watch some old basketball games. So we're going to find some good matchups and just see what happens. Try to watch the games and have a good time. And, ideally we'd find some ones where the Spurs win. But also if we just want to get a good scale of NBA history, sometimes that doesn't happen. They do have their winning moments, obviously, one of the legendary franchises, but sometimes it doesn't happen. And even you get a legendary game like this game. The series before that, 33 points in a Game 7 as well, too. 2 Game 7s. Just all that he can, chat. What was he for this playoff run in general here? Let's see. Shout out to George Gervin. 28 a game, 53% from the field, 28 and 6. 6 rebounds. So just massive scoring performances every night, chat. Game 6 the year before that, 10 for 19. He had a Game 7. Does this go back to the ABA, chat, maybe? 76. This might be an ABA season. But 31 in a Game 7 in a loss. So not always maybe the teammates around him as well, too, chat, to help him out. Game 7, another loss. Did this man ever win a Game 7, chat? Did he ever win a game 7? That's brutal. I guess maybe no, I don't know if he ever did. That's tough. What do you do? But this one against Washington specifically in the historic season that we are comparing, like the one that Shea just had, it is not his fault that they got bounced in the playoffs that year. And then the other 50% season from him would have been what, this season here? 20 shots a game as well too. 33 a game. So he was third in MVP voting this year, and he was second in the MVP voting the year before that. So the league MVP was also Moses Malone. So, luckily for the writers, chat, maybe the fouls in some of those game 7s, they were helping the Rockets win a little bit to help their votes. Dandridge at 5th, Hayes at 3rd, George, of course, George Gervin, of course, first team All-NBA as well too. Kareem in LA, of course, by this point. I mean, yeah, we're into the 70s. For sure, chat. But defense, chat, he's the only player that is on the all-defensive team. He can guard all 5 spots. I mean, he is that talented. Chat, who is this guy? Winford Bones? Winford Gladstone Bones III? 8 points a game through his NBA career. 6.6. We might have to star this page, chat. I can't forget about this guy. This guy might be right up there with Otis Birdsong. As just if we could assemble an all-name team. Who would it be? The most fun names. Otis Birdsong, you get a name like Antetokounmpo Wembanyama. There's more like complex names than Otis Birdsong. But there's just something about the name Otis Birdsong that just rings such a pure name. Winfred Gladstone Bones III is just unmatched. And we know we're keeping an eye on a lot of the nicknames on the pod as well too. I don't know if we're going to assemble the best potential all nickname team throughout history, just keeping our eye on it. What do we find? I don't even know what the lineup is right now, chat. Dr. Duncanstein is definitely the star of the team. Dr. Duncanstein, chairman of the boards, the doctor of defense. So if you have doctor in the title, does that help? Dr. J as well too. I mean, obviously an iconic nickname, but if it's got an initial in it, it's a little bit of a cheat, I think. It depends. PG-13 is a good nickname because it's also a thing that exists as a rating system. So is it, saying his game is PG-13? Not necessarily, but it's like, okay, at least it's a reference to another thing as well too, and not just his nickname. CP3, a little lazy. KD, I mean, that's about as lazy as you can get, chat. But Easy Money Sniper, not bad as a nickname. It's not really a nickname. It's more of a, a slogan, a motto, whatever you want to say. A business name, whatever. But still not bad. But yeah, Winford Gladstone Bones III, chat. Only 3 years, so hopefully all is well with our guy. But was making an all-rookie push there, apparently, as well, too. Oh, Mike Mitchell, another Spurs guy as well, too. And who won Coach of the Year, chat? Hey, yo. Hubie Brown in the mix. Tied for 3rd. Shout out to the legend. You love to see it. But yeah, he was 2nd in voting that year and then 3rd in voting this year. Kareem won. Where's Moses? Moses only 1 MVP vote. Dennis Johnson getting some MVP votes. Tarney Archibald, Larry Bird, George Gervin. Julius Ervin. George Gervin, Julius Ervin. 2 and 3, chat. The classic 1-2 combination there. But we got, 60 seconds left in this game. Minnesota 103, Oklahoma City 116. It looks like they are going, of course, to secure game 2 and go to Minnesota with a very, very comfortable series lead, chat. So let's take one more break, and then we can return and put a nice little bow on the end of the live stream and get ready, I guess, for tomorrow night, chat. Because what do we got? We got another basketball game tomorrow night, chat. Game 2, Eastern Conference Finals. Let's go. And it's Friday night anyways, chat. We're back anyways. Friday night live stream. Let's go. One more break. We'll be back. Okay, chat. Well, now that it's officially 2-0 Oklahoma City, where do we go with the storylines? Is it time for Chris Finch hot seat? Do we start calling for his job, chat? I don't know where to necessarily take that. But I will say the OKC Thunder may have to settle down, of course, and not a hot take necessarily, but the teammate stuff in the interviews, I get what it means. It obviously for the big picture and the chemistry and the fact that they're just, obviously disconnected as a group. But as champions, do they need to have a little respect where they can just kind of carry themselves individually? It does feel like a little bit of a up and coming sort of kid team type vibe. So maybe this really, and if we check the ages, maybe this really is, pause, but maybe this is the youngest potential NBA champion team in NBA history. There's a lot of rookie contract, a lot of recent draft picks, obviously a lot of next generation talent leading the way. But it does feel like, okay, if you're going to be champions, does it feel like a champion move to be in the huddle that way around the main guy in the post-game chat? Or are we just feeling salty that they're going to be representing the West? I don't know. But retire it, chat. Just go to the locker room. Just get started. Hey, oh, no, stay in your lane. What are we saying here, chat? We're getting a little aggressive here in the fourth quarter, I guess. Hey, yo. But, yeah, like we were saying, Minnesota. I mean, Anthony Edwards, I guess, with the shot attempts and stuff, it does look like on paper he is getting enough in a way. I don't know what he ended up with the game. Yeah, 12 for 26. He did almost get to 50% at some point there. I guess he might have hit a couple of shots late, 32. Wait, do they have the shot chart here? Let's see if we get an instant breakdown. What happened in that third and fourth quarter? Oh, wait, translate to English. Anthony Edwards, fourth quarter? Yeah, he was putting him up in the fourth quarter, chat. Hey, yo, can we get the Thunder? Oh, wait, check the Thunder off. That's why it's so crazy. Okay, here we go, chat. Yeah, that makes sense. I was like, Anthony Edwards all over the court in the fourth quarter. Okay, so what are we up? 3 for 6 in the fourth quarter. And if we went maybe second half as well, too. Third quarter. Yeah, he was only 2 for 2 attacking the rim in the third quarter when the game is out of control. 25 to 31 in the third quarter. Yeah, fourth quarter, I guess, overall, they did outscore him a little bit. It made up a little bit of ground, but they did get outscored in the other two quarters as well, too, with almost a double-digit lead between the two of those. So if we compared it to game one as well, the third quarter in game one was 32 to 18. And Minnesota even won the second half in the first half in both those games. In the fourth quarter as well, too, just as dominant as the third quarter in the last game. But Minnesota, again, just in halftime, chat, has not been able to enter the second half with the aggressive attacking nature to go out there and keep the Oklahoma City runs from happening, but also to, exert themselves a little bit as well, too. And they didn't really exert themselves a lot in the game. And to be honest, again, a lot of that early game, as we look back as well, too, it's like OKC was just sort of where they just warming up a little bit to start that half. And again, Minnesota was close again in this one, but just with the way that OKC is able to snowball these games in the second half, maybe at home, Minnesota is more ready, but the Edwards thing is disappointing as well too, Chad. I guess it's not a word, disappointed at Edwards, but it is a little like, okay, you enter the theater expecting the 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, and maybe you're like, it was like a 70 something. It was a 7 out of 10, or 6 out of 10, whatever you want to say the actual rating is. Maybe there is some rewatchability here. Maybe I'll appreciate the performance later in the future. But in the moment, it's not exactly the performance that you're hoping for. And once again, minus 22, a crazy plus-minus number that is going to be for sure, of course, mentioned as it has to be, but as a lead topic as well, too. 7 for 10 from the free throw line. So some of the attacking, getting downhill, did definitely translate a little bit into that as well, too, Chad. But yeah, especially in that moment in the game where they need him to take over and they need him to exert himself and need him to stop the run. Okay, he's not a bench time, garbage time. Let me get my stats up at the end of the game scorer. You've got to know when to step on the gas. He's got to know when to do all the stuff. And maybe that is the thing again in the basketball conversation of it between Shea and Anthony Edwards that Shea does have right now. And these guys are somewhat similar in ages. Shea maybe has a couple of seasons on some of these guys, him and Halliburton. Shea and Brunson maybe a little closer in age actually. But Shea again had some seasons where he sat out, some injuries, some waiting for the Thunder to fully form a little bit. But pause. But Shea does have that feel of knowing when the right time to, okay, I need to get a shot here. My little mid-range shot that I can get to all the time. I'll get the best look that I can here, this automatic look that I know I can get because we need a bucket. We're going a little stale. The other team's starting to make a run and get out of hand. We can also have the defensive thing to always fall back and rely on too as well. But Shea's sense of the moment, and not the overall sense of what the moment is, but his basketball feel sense of the moment does seem to be a little higher IQ than Edwards at this point, where Edwards in that third quarter, there's just opportunities where you're like, Edwards needs to be the guy that takes over here and is the one that stops this run or at least tries to get the team going. And again, we don't want to talk out of our double talk a little bit where if he takes some shots in the third quarter and misses and it's like, oh, is he distracting from the team and whatever. But at the end of the day, he is the best player. And especially it's more so the timing of the other team is making a run and where is the takeover nature as well too. Not to say that it's not there, but those are things that I think you want to see from a superstar. It's not the hot take questiony thing, I guess, maybe, where it's like, is Anthony Edwards delivering the moment? Can he carry a team? Can he do all this stuff? Like maybe, it's not that. It's Anthony Edwards is this great player and he has the ability to do all these things. Like it's almost like, pause, but it's almost that like you had permission to be a little bit more of a ball hog in the third quarter and to try to hunt out your shot and to not try to always be kicking it back out for three when you have a drive and they don't have shot blockers in the game and you don't have a perimeter defender switched on you that has been pesky all night. And, he's been committed to the three-pointer this year. He's said in one of his, of course, many iconic post-game quote type things, but interaction between reporters that, he doesn't care about people saying he takes too many threes. He said they can get out of here, chat. Like, he's good. He'll just play his game the way he wants to play it, which is ultimately what you want to see, of course. But it doesn't mean that three-point number isn't going to be a little bit up there as well. So 9 threes is not necessarily too bad for the game in 2025, but you could see him more 7 to 8 threes and then maybe a ninth if he's really cooking, but you could still maybe in that 23 to 26 shot range as well too, because 10 free throws is pretty good as well. 9 rebounds, 6 assists. Like again, he was making an effort to play make. That's not a bad thing, but he's just such a dynamic scorer, and he still at the end of the day is their best scorer as well too. So at some point you need your best option to just be taking shots and trying, chat, at least cooking up something. But I mean, yeah, at home, down 2-0. There's, at any moment, it's like, okay, Anthony Edwards has something to prove. This is the moment. This is the time. But they're not going to get swept in this series, I get. So it just becomes a betting thing at this point. Game to game. Do you think there's value in the series going maybe 6? Can it go 2-1, 3-1, then 3-2, and then 4-2? Can Minnesota get 2 here? Can it go 2-2 maybe? And then just OKC had those first 2 really good games at home and stole the series that way. Like that's still a possibility as well too. So it's still figuring out some of the betting angles and the betting perspective of it. But yeah, Chad. Otherwise, just in terms of them winning the series, of course, it does seem bleak, and it does seem like a little bit of a ask. But I guess we'll see. They probably do have live odds here real quick of what that series could potentially look like. Just, again, not Minnesota, we're live betting them to win the series in the middle of them being down 2-0. But is there value with Minnesota? And what would Minnesota have to do to steal a game outside? You would think it would be home court that would help them as well, too. So it would have to be the next two. And then, so I guess that could be the potential. Could Minnesota win the next two at home? And then OKC wins game 5 and then maybe game 6 on the road. I don't think Minnesota's going to force a game 7 at this point. So the only advantage Minnesota has of being at home is they might lose by a little bit less. They're plus 132. OKC is still favored by 3.5, plus 154 on the money line. So I don't know. We start going parlay builder for the next one. Series stuff. Maverick McNeely. Charles Schwab challenge. Oh, wait a second. That's not right, chat. WNBA odds. Is this for tomorrow? Do we cook up a little WNBA NBA playoff parlay? The Aces minus 1,050 to win a regular season game versus the Mystic. I mean, I don't doubt our abilities, but that seems a little bit egregious. Do we have to bet the plus 360 just because? Just cover up the blindly look at the teams and go, well, you have to take a swing on the plus 360. Again, there's very few times in the regular season when that's even a possibility. So if it ever is plus 10,000 on the money line, plus 1,000 on the money line, 1,040 is crazy. Connecticut, of course, is still in a bit of a rebuilding stretch. The Link look amazing. A 16-point favorite. I don't doubt the Link. So a win's a win, even if the Sun cover. I don't know if there's value in the Sun covering a 16-point game at minus 106. Maybe there is. 16 is a little bit. 14, though, the Aces can get that, chat. So I wouldn't doubt 14. I guess, yeah, it's definitely stay away. But if it was NFL, I feel like maybe NFL would be the one that you're like 6-1. You kind of gotta scoop that up, unless it's Mahomes. But WNBA, here we go, more WNBA. Always more WNBA, chat, is the question. Valkyrie versus Sparks. Valkyrie plus 470. Also not bad value, chat. Are we going to try to clean up betting the upsets this year in the WNBA? I don't know if mathematically that works out as a favorable strategy. Caitlin Clark favored minus 110 for MVP. The stats do look insane to start the season. Collier, though, with the Lynx. We'll have to see. Of course, A'ja Wilson is in the mix. Kelsey Plum as well, too. Like, this is why, again, we need to open up the betting for the all-league teams. In the NBA, you should be able to bet if a guy makes whatever level of All-NBA or higher, or the specific one. Like, if you bet a guy for second team, but he makes first, you're like, oh, he was too good. I got to find the sweet spot. But Kelsey Plum would be a good first-team All-NBA bet before, or WNBA bet before the season, where it wouldn't have been, of course, like outrageous to predict Kelsey Plum first-team All-WNBA. But it does seem like, oh, man, her with her own team again, like that could be unlocked in a fun way with the young talent around her. Her stats might be insane. The Sparks might actually be a feisty game-to-game team. So she has a real shot, of course, to be on that first team lineup as well, too. And I guess is she technically on it right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. She'd be the 5th person in that lineup. Sabale would be the 6th person. Odd person out. Alyssa Thomas would be the mix-up, I guess, from last year. The switch-out from last year. I think Alyssa Thomas might have been first team. All W. Ryan Howard, Angel Reese, Arike Agumbawale, Jackie Young, Aaliyah Boston. So it kind of goes to a different tier a little bit there. Of course, you can just see it on the odds as well, too. But yeah, Caitlin Clark favored to win MVP early on. Some early Commissioner's Cup odds. New York Liberty favored Fever plus 360. Do we bet the plus 360 and just assume the WNBA takes a page out of the NBA's book and just try to rig it for Caitlin Clark to get him that in-season hype and get some eyeballs on the tournament? And then, you just go, okay, well, we'll try to play it a little bit less transparent in the actual, the playoff version of it. But let's see here, chat. We're too in the weeds. What are we looking up? Something from 7980 in the voting? I don't know. Some record thing that we were going to check out. Oh well, whatever. We got the MVP. We got the early season 2-game in WNBA MVP update. So I know that that was super important. But whatever it is, do we keep looking at 79, 1979, 1980 NBA history chat? You know we could look at 70s and 80s NBA history all day. It is what it is. Watch some highlights. The all 70 team. Maybe this every summer it's just like take a different decade and just deep dive into the decade on the pod. So this summer it'll be the 70s. We'll do a 70s deep dive, just every Wikipedia link, click through every link, try to break down every stat page and just look through players chat. Dan Roundfield, other guys. I like to see the purple links as well too. It's like, yeah, you know, we're starting to learn some stuff. We're starting to go through NBA history and the names are becoming more familiar and the multiple teams they pop up on. And oh yeah, I forgot this guy was in the MVP voting these times at this point. And just the more MVP votes as well too. But the longer ballots is a little bit of a fun wrinkle as well. And then you just get a guy like Dan Roundfield getting MVP votes, making All-Stars, making the All-NBA in 79 and 80 and 5-team All-Defense as well too. Dr. Rounds. So that might be an actual Dr. one that unfortunately might not, again, you know, with the name in it, is a little bit of a different type of thing. It's just the purity of the nickname, the full nickname. So is a aspect of the game like the defense, like I guess Dr. Duncanstein is a little bit aspect of the game as well too. Chairman of the boards, Doctor of the fence, Dr. Duncanstein. Yeah, chat, we'd have to go back and look through them all. Hakeem the Dream is not bad. Hakeem the Dream is definitely up there. The Brow, maybe. The Big Fundamental. Yeah, chat. Definitely got to be the Big Fundamental. And the Admiral as well, too. It's pretty good. Oh, and how can we forget about Iceman? We can't keep talking about nicknames and not mention Iceman. So between, I mean, chat, I'm not trying to be biased here or anything, but I think the coolest nicknames in NBA history are the Big Fundamental, Iceman, the Admiral, and, you know, whatever the best Wemby nickname is. Wemby, the Alien, Wemby Etiyama, chat. I don't know what the right combination of branding yet for the Wemby nickname is. But between that and Ginobili, does that count as a nickname? Just the way Charles Barkley says Ginobili? Hey, yo, chat. We shouldn't start bringing up Charles Barkley in San Antonio. We're going to get people upset. But, yeah. Shout out to 70s basketball, chat. Hey, yo, shout out to the Thunder, of course, too, for the 2-point lead. And shout out to, who do we shout out for the Timberwolves? Jaden Daniels for competing tonight, chat. Jaden Daniels showed up to play 4 for 8 from 3, 22 points. Nickeil Alexander-Walker showed up to play. So he's got the cousin on the other end. He's got the bloodlines, chat. Hey, yo. He's got the relative to try to prove something to. He's got family in the stands and family watching, and everybody's like, oh, we're so proud of Shea. He just won the MVP. He's playing so well. He's scoring 30 points a game. But Nickeil Alexander-Walker's like, hey, yo, I get buckets in a playoff game. 27 points, 5 for 8. He's like, hey, I'm actually a better player. I just need more shots. If I could take 21 shots like Shea, I'm making more than 12. At 5 for 8, look at my percentage. It's literally true. 3 for 4 from 3. I can actually shoot threes. Maybe he says that at dinner table. You think at Thanksgiving, Nickeil Alexander-Walker's bringing up his 3-point percentage over Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. 13 for 15, though, from the free throw line, chat. He more than doubled it from that one time that we looked at it. That is crazy work, chat. Great job paying off the refs and budgeting your NBA contract so you can, you know, pay it back to yourself in this way by getting these foul calls. That's the reward to himself, chat. Foul calls. Hey, yo. It is what it is. But Naz Reid 0 for 5. Naz Reid, find your three-pointer. You want to be able to run that Naz Reid, Julius Randle, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniel, DiVincenzo? That's the lineup you want to be able to run at the end of these games. So if Daniels is not at least, and Naz Reid as well, I guess is what we're saying. If Naz Reid is not giving you these consistent 3-point shooting minutes, then he's still a useful player outside of that. But some of the switchability stuff does become a little bit interesting if he's not giving you the 3-point shooting. Maybe you go a little bit smaller even as well too with like DiVincenzo or Nickeil Alexander-Walker at that point where they can switch for the 3 and then, still at least try to compete. For the other switches on defense where it's, do you at least have a guy, if both guys are going to compete, like what's the difference if neither one's going to get the stop, Just let both of these guys compete and try to pick up the advantages in the other way. But yeah, hopefully we get a decent Edwards game. Just a decent Edward game, chat. But something for the reruns. Something for Pluto. Come on, chat. Pluto, we're looking for new programming over here at Rem and Sam Plus Pluto collab channel, which runs. Can we get a channel that runs NBA highlights and action movies? It's like, okay, we're gonna run the, get rich, die trying, and then whatever the best game is from this series. That's the afternoon. That's Tuesday afternoon, chat, on the pod. Or on Pluto, I guess. Us reacting to our own Pluto live stream. Who knows, chat. But, yeah, I guess we'll be back on tomorrow for, of course, Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals. The Pacers probably going to make another dramatic comeback. Sorry to the Knicks fans. They have to be the one to dramatically sacrifice the leads in all these games again. But it's just the story of the East. It's how it goes, chat. One of these teams has to lose in dramatic fashion. So it seems like Indiana is on pace to go to the finals. We'll give the Knicks a chance after we call them the best team left. But the Knicks have a chance to tie it up. And see if they can make it just a full orange and blue fest, I guess, in the finals. Ayo. But, yeah, we'll be back on tomorrow. Subscribe to the YouTube so you don't miss it. You can find the live streams as well, too. They do get posted up on the podcast feed, so it's available that way as an option for you guys as well, too. All archived over there. And, of course, Spotify has the video versions as well. So, I mean, the archive goes way back with the video feeds. So, I mean, it's all stored over there as well, too, as another platform way for you guys to access if you need it over there. And the messages, of course, the DMs are open at Rem and Sam on Instagram if you guys want to message us and communicate with us that way. We definitely enjoy it, appreciate it, love it when you guys tap in and say, hey, what's up? So don't feel afraid to message the DMs over there, chat. Hey, yo, wink, wink, slide in. IT wants you to say hi to him in our DMs at Rem and Sam Pod on Instagram. So, yeah, we'll be back on tomorrow night. Watch the Eastern Conference Finals. Having a good time. Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton. Don't miss it, chat!